Hello, everyone. Shut up, music. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Bring up that. Get rid of that. Make sure nothing weird's on the home page. Okay, we're good. And then, boom. Oh, it has been a day, my dudes. How is everybody? Before we hop, there is some really exciting stuff. Oh, we could probably move Streamlabs over here, shouldn't we? Yeah, let's put Streamlabs over there. Let's put the live streaming stuff over there. There we go. That's a little better. That's a little more organized. I'm a professional streamer. There is some huge Age of Sigmar shit today, which some of you may think to yourself, "Oh, I'm not super interested in Age of Sigmar," but let me explain why today's news is such a big deal. And let me know if you still think Age of Sigmar is dumb and you don't want to deal with it later. Because I bet when I pitch to you what they're actually doing, you may actually be interested. Anyway, before we get started today, we do have a couple little things we need to do. First off, I guess offline, we picked up some new members over here on YouTube. So I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Home Slicer, Demon Slayer 25, and Stephen Lee for becoming members. I really appreciate the support. And Scion of the Emperor has been a member for 26 months in a row. What a boss. What an absolute boss. I really appreciate the support, my dudes. And then, of course, we have the next important thing we need to do, which is saying hello to everybody. So over on Twitch, we've got Handsome Jules, Undertaker #1, King Thran, Torrent Hidge, or is it Torrent Thidge? Forenza, hello, and Board Thing. Over on YouTube, we've got Seb's Mad, Dossict, Kiro Haas, Luke Morrish, Dr. Zero, Chris Lofton, Nathan Lee, The Milkman, Changer of Ways, Even More Insanity, there we go, Joe Ackley, James Bongo, James Bong Zero, I'm assuming it's Bongo, Mateus Grue, Christian Sukowicz, Rasmus, hello, Dreadnoughtless, Tommy Bravo, Eli Lopak, Tommy Bravo, I think I already said your name, but just in case, Richard Woolner, Allard John Prinz, Tyrant Keeper, Good Talk Gaming, Luke Morrish, David McCullough, Kiro Haas, always good to have you here. Thank you. Don Tavarusa, Madros98. We got a new Twitch sub. Don McGlass celebrating 3 months, and Dossict celebrating 27. Goddamn, Dossict. Look at you. Oh, and Dossict just became a member on YouTube. Very nice. Very nice. New member, but that doesn't look like a bronze badge by your name. I'll have to check that out in a second. Brent Jaspers. I might have already said that. I'm getting all distracted now. Focus, Sotek. I'm exhausted, but I need to power through this. EA Diaz, Gerard Palacios, Matasanos, Chris Lofton, Mitch, Magnus, Snader, one of those. Dewitt Palps, Golden Spear, Dakota Youngblood, Hiteshwar Singe, Incognito, one of those two. Hello. And I think that's just about everyone. And then over on Twitch, we've got a couple of more people popping in. We got John Locke Cole, Papa Scorch. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it, guys. It's so good to see all your faces. Oh, you had to renew your membership. Okay. It's like, new member. And it's like, yeah, but you got like the super member badge. Like the been here forever badge. Alright. So, let's get into it. Thankfully, the horrible, god-awful 40k only bullshit has finally come to an end. Of course, 40k still has to spit all over our stuff and get extra releases anyway. Happy for the Horus Heresy guys. Hopefully they really enjoy the new stuff they're getting. I know that's coming near the end, so I hope they enjoy what they've got. Looks like Necromunda got a new gang. Changer of Ways! Thanks so much for becoming a member, my dude. Really, really appreciate it. Enjoy the emotes and stuff. I know that'll make Mr. Nathan Fee very happy for new Horus Heresy stuff. Necromunda got a new group. Who are the House of Iron? I'm just kind of curious what their gimmick is. What are those animals they have? House Orlok? I like that dude. They got like Rottweilers? That's kind of cool. House of Iron. Okay. I mean, I kind of like their aesthetic. I like the dogs. Those are slick. Very cool. Hopefully we get those in the video game before long. Man, those look pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. Cyber dogs. Very nice. And then we got something new for Necrons. Oh, they got new destroyers. Okay. I mean, I'm glad it's not Space Marines. So, good for you, Necrons. Getting some more stuff. Good for you, my dude. And then, what the hell is this? Okay, so they're just giving you more expansions for... Wait, so is Beyond the Veil mission pack, is this for all armies, or is this only for Necrons? Venture into the Prior Nexus. Oh, okay, so it seems like it's for everybody. Yeah, okay. That's cool. And then... New terrain. Chapter approved. What? How are they doing chapter approved already? Like, don't they usually wait for a few months? Isn't that supposed to be like a borderline and FAQ book? Or... This feels very silly to release right after the new edition just came out, but hey, what do I know? Okay, and now we're starting... Okay, but enough of that. Who cares? Who gives a shit, right? 40k sucks. Let's move on. Let's move on to the actual stuff that's, like, actually good and worth talking about. So, let's go on to Age of Sigmar. Which, normally, back in the day, I used to not care about. But now I care a lot about because, unlike 40k... all of the Age of Sigmar side games are actually super fun. Like, Warcry is amazing and very interesting and tactical to play. And Underworlds is insanely fun to play. And then the main game's pretty decent. Unlike 40k, where the main game is alright and everything else just, like, completely sucks a bag. Age of Sigmar, dude... I mean, you can choose not to like it. That's fine, but you're missing out on a lot of really cool shit. So let's take a look at this. Now, I haven't seen any of this yet. So what do we got here? Oh, it's loud. Wow, is this an animation? So it's the Untamed Beast and the Iron Golems. Well, shouldn't have stood there, dude. Oh! Oh! It's the Shadow Elves! Oh, it's the Shadow Elves! Oh my. And the last Chaos Warband. Oh, it's the first, like, is it the first, like, big expansion? Oh, it's a new core set. Okay. Any ETA in the next Total War stream? Maybe later tonight or tomorrow. Okay, so we've already seen both of these warbands, but we're finally getting a release for them. So this is in the depths of the Varen Spire. Oh, I love these Shadow Elves. These Shadow Elves are so good looking. Like, the whole mirror mask concept and, like, all the weird cloaks and stuff. Ah, I like that these guys are like a Cainite assassin group that have magic, I guess? And some, like, witch elves that wear more than just the base minimum clothes. Looks like a Sister of Slaughter with way more clothing than normal Sisters of Slaughter. Okay, so this is the full warband. The last time they showed us these guys, we only got to see, like, 2 or 3 models. This time we're getting to see the entire warband. So it looks like you've got Sisters of Slaughter, some kinds of witch elves. That looks like an old school Cainite assassin. And then this must be the boss. This has to be the warband leader. This guy is crazy looking. So I'm curious if these guys are considered Daughters of Cain, or if they're considered part of something new. I guess I could read and it'll tell me. Cainite Shadow Stalkers. Okay, so these are Daughters of Cain, but with dudes, which is great. So mostly women, yeah, definitely mostly women, but there are some men in here. Like that looks like a dude. This is very hard to tell. Oh no, that's a chick, isn't it? Is that a chick? Might be a dude. They might be all women. Are they all women? I mean, so far the Daughters of Cain have been exclusively women. Except for maybe, can you take warlocks? Are you still able to, does anybody know for Daughters of Cain if you're still able to take Doomfire warlocks? You can? Okay, yeah. Okay, so there might be some guys here. It's hard to tell, but there might be some guys. Because there are, it's not an all-female warband. It's just mostly female. Yeah, elves does make it hard to tell. The difference between male and female elves is pretty slim. But I gotta say, these guys look sick. Like, I really hope the Daughters of Cain are gonna get, like, a big update. And then the Scions of the Flame. This has to be one of the coolest damn warbands. For Chaos. Like, look at these guys. Like, you kind of got these weird, almost pilgrim-looking dudes. Like, you can tell they're kind of like marauders. But then you got these super Eastern aesthetic badasses who just have these crazy... Like, look at this dude. This guy's just on fire. Like, he's not wielding fire. He just is fire. But this guy... Oh, look at that model. Like, you could make a fantasy Cathay army starting with this group. Like, all you'd have to do is literally, like, get rid of the chaos symbolism. Like, use green stuff or shave off the chaos symbols. And you could legit start collecting Cathay. Granted, they're a little spiky. But you could easily start making Cathay guys off these warriors. Are these Cornate magic users? No, so the whole thing with Warcry is that Warcry was originally pitched as it was pitched as like all of these different chaos groups fighting for Archaon's favor. And there is a warband for every realm. So there's a chaos group from Gur, so Beast. There's a chaos group from Olgu, Shadow. There's a chaos group from Death, Shaiish. There's a chaos group from Light, Hish. There's a chaos group from Gyran. Like they're from all over the place. But these guys are from Akshi. So these are the Fire Bros. And then there's one that's from the actual Varanspire itself. So there's 9 Chaos Warbands for Warcry. You can take them in regular AOS, and they basically function as like Marauders with extra gimmicks. But they're a ton of fun. And Warcry is basically Mordheim. It has a couple of small issues that'll hopefully get fixed in this new edition. But all of these guys generally are undivided. Some of them have like lean towards one aspect more than the other, but almost all 9 of them worship Archaon more than a specific Chaos God. Oh right, there's no Azir band. Sorry, yeah. There's no warband from the Realm of Heavens. But they get their 8th warband for the Varanspire, which is like a mixing ground for all the... It's like a place in the middle of all the realms. So no, yeah, there's no Heavens warband, but there's a warband from everywhere else. And then there's an additional one from the Varanspire, which replaces the Heavens one. No Chaos Heavens? Yeah, no. Sigmar purged the shit out of Azir. I really like these guys. This is like I think the Untamed Beasts, which are obviously the Gur warband, are still my favorite. But these guys are. Is there one for light? Yes, there is a warband from the realm of light, and they're all about like mysticism, and they're very culty. But let's move on. So new terrain. I'm probably gonna buy this. Honestly, this is the new core set. I am probably gonna get this, so I can have all this like fire lava terrain shit. I mean, this looks really fun. Yeah, the Cypher Lords. Yeah, those are like, hey, Haunchy TV, how you doing? Haunchy TV, I like that name. You got the old one of the hunt over there. All right. Oh, and then this. Underworlds. Underworlds is my favorite AOS game right now. Underworlds is so legit. So what do we got? Looks like Lumineth Realm Lords. Yep. So we got a Lumineth Realm Lord warband. Oh, that dude kind of looks like a Swordmaster, like a classic Swordmaster. You know, one of those stupid bull helmet guys. Oh, look at that archer. Who are they fighting? Kind of looks like a Beastman. That's not a Beastman. Slaanesh? Oh, Slaanesh! Dude, are we getting Mortals of Slaanesh? Oh, they've got a Beastman? Dude, do they have a Beastman of Slaanesh? Are we getting Slongors? Okay, so this is Season 4. Dire Chasm. Slongors? Oh! Oh, fuck! Dude, Slongors? Oh, I'm so ready. Dude, so Slaanesh was easily the worst god in Age of Sigmar because he got his big update and all he had was demons. Like, it was just demons, which kind of sucks. Like, you want mortals, you want beastmen. Oh, dude, look at that thing. So it's mortals and beastmen. Dude, look at the Slongor. Look how creepy it is. Look at those legs. Oh my lord. Those legs go for days and bend back into tomorrow and go then into yesterday. Hot damn. So they've got a full-on Slongor, and then it looks like the rest of the warband is Mortals of Slaanesh. This is exactly what Slaanesh needed. Dude, I almost want to buy this box and then just try and trade with other people to just get like a unit of the Slongor. I just want like Slongors. Oh, we're getting more Beastman variants. Thank you, God. Like, man, like I want Korngors, Pestigors, Zongors we have oodles of Zongors. Would this integrate well with the Night Vault set I just got? So Hesnake, I have the same problem you do. I collected the unfortunately I was stupid and I did not get the Night Vault set, which I should have. I only got the Briar Queen half of the box. So these are not my nice cards. I have like limited edition versions of the Briar Queen's cards, but so I've got all the Briar Queen card set. But if you own the Night Vault set, it's good to have, but because it gives you everything you need. But you'll want to pick up some stuff. Nurgors, they're called Pestigors, not Nurgors, for Nurgle. Nurgors. The Lumineth look cool too. Like, dude, look at. I love this chick in the front. She looks like a legit Swordmaster. Are we getting Swordmasters back then for Lumineth? Oh, and then this. Dude, a chameleon skink that is way more chameleon than skink. He's well camouflaged, but you'll see Otapuddle, a chameleon skink. The Seraphon are coming to Warhammer Underworlds. Yes! Yes! Oh. The single most requested Warhammer Underworlds warband. Seraphon. Oh. Mwah. Oh, I'm so fucking... Wow, that's a wild looking chameleon skink. Like, I love this... I love that pose. He's actually really different looking from the chameleon skinks of Fantasy. Because the chameleon skinks of Fantasy didn't really have traditional head crests. I really like this look. I'm curious if they're going to be coalesced or starborn. Oh, fuck, dude. This guy looks amazing. Look how intricate that blowpipe is. I love... look at that. He's got a frog. He's got a poisonous frog strapped to him that's got the darts in its mouth. Do you think that frog's still alive? Like, is the frog... Is he just like, hey, just shove this down your throat and hold on to it? Or do you think he just, or do you think the frog quiver is, like, just been impaled and is dead? Oxiodal had a crest. Yeah, Oxiodal did have a crest, but it doesn't flare up like this. It's more like it goes up and then down. Oh, dude, I'm so fucking excited. Dude, the next season of Underworlds cannot come soon enough. The only thing that sucks is it says Dire Chasm over the next coming months. Like, fuck. I really need that. That means we're gonna be lucky if it comes out before Christmas, to be honest. If there's one thing I hate about Games Workshop, it's that they announce shit way too far in advance. The girl is from the Lumineth River Temple. The Amentar... Oh, so these are the river people. Okay, so far for the or for the Lumineth, we've seen the river... Now we've seen River Temple, which are Swordmasters. It looks like legit high elf Swordmasters, but just updated. And we've got the mountain people, who are the new White Lions, but they carry hammers instead of axes, which is kind of lame, but it is what it is. Dude, I can't get over this Slaanesh stuff. This Slaanesh stuff looks absolutely sick. Whew. And then what is this? Arena of Death. When a one-on-one game won't do, the Arena Mortis waits. Grab a single fighter and face off between 2 and 5 other players. Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's just a different game mode. I really hope they're going to add this to the video game. If they were to add this to the video game, Underworlds Online, that would actually help significantly with that game. Because that game's biggest problem right now is it does not have enough modes. Is this only about Warhammer Age of Sigmar? Stay tuned. I want to talk about something at the end. Stay with me. If you're sitting here like, I like Warhammer, but Age of Sigmar is kind of not my thing, just hang on. Stay with me. Alright. And, man, we might do some giveaways with this. Like, would y'all be down for that? Doing giveaways with, like, Dire Chasm? Or, like doing giveaways of, like, Underworld warbands? Or giveaways of Warcry warbands? I kind of want to, like, do that. Anyway, so... what do we got next? Age of Sigmar. Prepare for shadow and pain. Since the Age of Myth, the elves have on the whole taken little interest in the great events ravaging the mortal realms. These inscrutable beings have focused on their own agendas, like the imprisonment of a certain chaos god. But now war comes to them, and the rivalry between their ancient race and the followers. Oh, dude, are we starting? Is the Slaanesh prison break about to be happening? Here we go. What do we got? Ooh. So, Daughters of Cain versus Slaanesh. Oh, dude! Oh, yes! Immortal of Slaanesh champion. Fuck yeah. Look at this guy. He's got, like, gems, and his face is all fucked up, and... oh, look at that! A Melusai champion? Oh, dude, she looks good. I love the Melusai. Like, I really hope the Melusai get way better rules in 2nd edition. Like, I love the Melusai models, but their rules in 1st edition Age of Sigmar are just fucking garbage. Like, they have these huge-ass bows, and they're not that good in melee, but the bows only shoot a single shot, and they're just not that great. Oh, here we go. Okay, the Melusa Iron Scale. And the Lord of Pain. Yeah, fuck that pleasure nonsense. Bring on the pain, bitch. Look how spiky this dude is. He's got, like, leather straps. Sigvald would be very proud. Sigvald would be so... look at this. What is this? What is this? Sigvald would be so proud of this man. Oh, man. Oh, man. That is a good box. That is a awesome looking box. Shadow and Pain. Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty... what, Sigvald would kill him? Well, Sigvald would kill anyone, but he would still be proud. Proud when you mean turned on? Probably. Little A, little B. So what all comes in this box? So you get 5 Kinneret. I love... so, honestly, the Daughters of Cain, they're getting a new... they just released their Underworlds warband. And they're pretty cool, but my only bitch about the Daughters of Cain warband is that it didn't have a Kinneret in it. Because the Kinneret are my favorite of the Daughters of Cain. Like the harpy wings, but giant tails. Like, that's dangerous waifu material. Like, this is, I love these models. Oh, look at that! They're getting melee Melusai? Oh, shit! Dude, they're getting melee Melusai! That's not a thing right now in 1st edition, right? These are new? These are new. Because in 1st edition, I thought they were only range. Hey, Eldrin the Archmage, thanks so much for using your twits up. They're not new? Oh, okay. No, it's just been a while since I've maybe they suck then, because I've never seen them on tabletop. Are they just bad? I'm assuming they must just have a shit stat line, because I've never seen them. They're better than the shooty sticks. The Melusai Blood Sisters. They're just not as good as Witch Elves. But they're better than the Bow Ariant. Hey, Foul, thanks for the raid, my dude. Ah, God, it looks so good. It looks so good. I am getting a little... I'm assuming this means we're going to get a second edition Daughters of Cain book soon. Because we're way overdue for that. The Melusai aren't bad, but they don't have good generals or synergies. Well, hopefully that'll change with the Iron Scale. Because the Iron Scale is pretty amazing looking. Hopefully she'll have some really good synergy. And then what do we got here? Broken Realms. That looks like Morathi being really upset. Alright. Broken Realms, the Realmgate Wars, Malign Portents, the Soul Wars, Wrath for the Everchosen. The vast ongoing story of the Mortal Realms has encompassed many great events. To break it down, Stormcast came in, kicked some ass. Nagash resurrected a bunch of dead boys. The ancient storm vaults cracked open, and most recently, Chaos and Death slapped each other in the 8 points. And the next chapter, we've got... Oh, it's happening! It's happening! Slaanesh is breaking free! And I don't know what this is. Wow, this looks like the Sundering. Like, there is not an Ulthuan, but this literally looks like the Sundering art. I mean, that's a black arc, right? For the, maybe the Corsairs? Oh dear. The Elven Gods are rising up to challenge the might of Chaos and Death, but like Sigmar's, they're, okay, techless, ever aloof, and arrogant, saves to single-handedly save the realms. Alariel, fickle as the seasons, turns on allies as well as enemies. Morathi is trying to achieve godhood. Okay, I'm busy. And the new conflict, treachery and torment, siege and slaughter, bunch of battle. So this is the next big book, Morathi. So yeah, this is the new so this is what I wanted to talk about. Because I was aware this was what was coming. But now that I'm actually looking at it, we could talk about it a bit. So the reason I think this is a big deal, and I really want to talk about it and start getting actually caught up on the lore on my channel, this is literally the second Sundering. So this is going to be the Sundering from Warhammer Fantasy, but we're going to be able to play through it as with Age of Sigmar. Because this literally is going to be the elves fighting each other. Slaanesh is definitely going to break out of his prison, and it's going to take us into third. Like, this is going to be fucking nuts. I mean, second edition story-wise has been so fun. Like, second edition story-wise has literally been like, oh, okay, Sigmar reestablished himself and order is a thing now. But then Nagash came in with, like, a steel chair and hit Chaos and Sigmar over the back of the head. And then, I mean, Nagash has been kicking ass almost the entirety of second edition. So this is going to be the first time in second edition we're focusing on someone besides Nagash, to be honest. Which I'm super okay with. Nagash has had plenty of time in the spotlight. We got, like, it was almost more like 3, but we got like at least 2 new death factions out of it. What I think this is honestly gonna be is it looks like Morathi's making her play. Morathi is trying to become a god. Like, Morathi's going for full-on godhood, and because of what Morathi's doing, Slaanesh is gonna break free. Slaanesh is going to break out of his prison, and when Slaanesh breaks out of his prison, it's going to be fucking all hands on deck, all hell breaking loose for every single faction of the elves. So, like, I think this is legit going to be, like, shit is hitting the fan. I'm really curious. You could see, if you look really closely, in Morathi's right here. So, like, Morathi has 2 forms. She has this, like, god form and then her little form, which is down here. But if you look at her hand, you could see she's holding the Heart of Cain. Because Morathi has been tricking all of the Daughters of Cain and like everybody that worships Cain, into thinking Cain's still alive when he's not. He's dead. But Morathy has been holding onto his heart, so she whenever someone worships Cain or makes a sacrifice to Cain, she like eats it and has been using it to like build up her power for godhood. So I think what's gonna happen is seeing as the book is called Morathy, I'm assuming she's the main character. So see, there it is, the Heart of Cain. So what I'm thinking is gonna happen is that Morathy's either going to either intentionally or unintentionally reveal that she is actually the new Cain and that actual Cain's dead. And I think if she does that, she's going to be forced or be choosing to make her play to not just be like a god in all but... Because Morathy is basically a god in all but name at this point. Like she is a god. Like if you go to Games Workshop right now and you look at all of their lore sources and you like ask them who the Elven Pantheon is, Morathy is a god, period, end of story. She's just basically she's just not like officially a god. Was it ever revealed how she got the heart? Yeah, Morathy. So basically what happened with Cain is in the end times, when Cain got depowered after his mortal avatar was killed, and Tyrion was killed, Cain lost most of his power. And basically what happened to him is sometime when the world was being like absorbed by chaos, Khorne basically sought Cain out and like destroyed everything that was left of him, grabbed his heart and like squeezed all the blood out of it. And like had his drank and absorbed everything. And once Khorne got bored with it, he basically chucked the heart of Cain, and it ended up in the possession of a god beast, which the god beasts are like these titanic monstrosities who are usually they're like the progenitors of a monster species. So the god beast of the Charybdis, so the Charybdis god beast, the father of all Charybdis, found the heart and for whatever reason like took it in as part of his treasure hoard. Morathy found out about it, and Morathy ended up seducing the god beast. And if memory serves, she seduced the god beast until she got her hands on the heart, and then like they started fighting. I don't think he gave it to her willingly. I think she killed him. But she's had the heart ever since. This is Age of Sigmar Psychic Awakening. Well, we'll have to see. I wouldn't call it Psychic Awakening because let me show you guys something. I have a book here. Where is it? Hold on. Let me find it. I've been so busy writing all those Hero of Legend videos for you guys that my library is literally scattered across this entire room. Hold on, I'll find it. I will find it. Where is Wrath of the Everchosen? Ah. Here we go. So, this is the book that came out before Morathy. So right now, second edition is what we know as the Soul Wars. And the Soul Wars so far have been comprised of, it started with Malign Portents. After Malign Portents, it went to we started in second edition, which was the start of the Soul Wars. And then after that was the Storm Vaults campaign. And after the Storm Vaults campaign was this, Wrath of the Everchosen. And now we're going to Morathy. Broken Realms. So what I'm curious about is if this is the end of the Soul Wars. A series of epic narrative books on a scale not seen since the Realmgate Wars. Okay, so it seems like everything is leading up to the Broken Realms. So the Broken Realms is the new Realmgate Wars, essentially, which means that it's the main event of second edition and will probably take us to the end of the edition, because we're almost done with second edition. I want to say, if I go to GW here, if we look at the Age of Sigmar factions, the only factions that are still missing their second edition books, did IDF Deepkin get a new book? I'm pretty sure they did. No, that looks like their first edition book. Does anybody know? This looks like their first ed book, but I thought they got a new book. They have not updated yet. Oh, okay, so I guess we're just going to get like a big elf update. So we're still waiting on Idoneth Deepkin. We're still waiting on the actual Lumineth Realmlords book to come out. Well, I think, if I remember right, the Lumineth Realmlords book you can get now has stuff that wasn't released in the box set. But I don't know. I really don't like how they split the Lumineth Realmlords up into like 2 releases. Or like 3 releases. So we're waiting on Daughters of Cain, Idoneth Deepkin, Nurgle, Maggotkin of Nurgle still have not updated. Death is all updated. And Destruction is all updated. But we're still waiting on the Sons of Behemoth, which did anybody actually catch the live stream? Oh yeah, Legions of Nagash. Right. Yep, we still need Legions of Nagash. Did anybody catch? Did they say anything about the Sons of Behemoth? They didn't say anything? Really? Man, they're fucking dragging their feet on that shit. Like, I understand if the release date is a little later, but fucking just say when it comes out. Like, just say something about it. Like, God, I feel like the Sons of Behemoth were a fever dream. Because, like, you can't find, like, they just won't talk about it. It's super frustrating. Yeah, so there's basically one book in every, well, 2 books for Order, but there's basically one book in every alliance that we're still waiting on. So yeah, so we're still waiting on Sons of Behemoth, Legions of Nagash, Maggotkin of Nurgle, and then elves. Just all the elves. So what I'm thinking is gonna happen is that Broken Realms is probably going to feature very heavily on the elves. Like, if the first book's called Morathi, I almost think that every book is going to be named after one of the elves. Elf gods. So we'll get, like, a book, like, book 1 might be Morathi, book 2 might be Alariel, book 3 might be Teclis, and then book 4 might be Tyrion, or something like that. And then, you know, maybe they'll drop the range with each of those. So maybe, like, for book 1, we'll get the Daughters of Cain, and maybe they'll update one of these other dudes, like the Sons of Behemoth can come out at that point. And then book 2, maybe we'll get the Maggotkin of Nurgle if Alariel's the big focus. Oh yeah, and then there's Malarian too. Aren't they going to revive Warhammer Fantasy? They are. However, I would say that if you're a big Warhammer Fantasy fan, I think this is an event worth paying attention to. Because this is legit going to be the Sundering. Like, this is going to be one of the most important events in Warhammer Fantasy, but we actually get to play it. Like, we actually get to experience it as it's happening. Any Seraphon stuff? Yes, Joseph. Yes. How rare I get to say that. A Underworlds warband is coming out for Seraphon. This is the only model we've seen so far, is the Chameleon Skink character, and he looks amazing. This is a fucking massive reveal. This is huge. Ah, man, yeah. So it's finally happening. Slaanesh is busting out. I thought it was going to be this summer, but you know, with the pandemic and everything, everything's been just fucking nuts. So, what I'm thinking, maybe the last book will actually be Malarian, because when Slaanesh breaks free, there is no way in hell Malarian's not going to show himself. Like, there is no way in hell Malarian is not going to come stage center with Slaanesh busting out. So, like, for everyone waiting for Malarian, he's coming. He is coming. There is no way Malarian's not about to fucking kick the door down with all this shit going down. I kind of wish we knew how many books it was. But I'm super excited for this. I wish I could also tell how thick the book was. This is. It's very hard to tell. Because the Realmgate War books, I've got one of them. The Realmgate War books is like, they're thick boys. I only own one. And I'm actually intending to pick up the others maybe this week. Maybe over the course of the next few weeks. Because they're super expensive. Unfortunately. Who's Malarian? Malarian is Malekith. He got renamed. He changed his name, which it's spelled like Malarian, but it's Malarian. And they changed his name for copyright reasons. You can't copyright a fantasy character named Malekith. Because, you know, that's a actual person in a myth. That'd be like trying to start a new fantasy universe and naming a character Loki and claiming copyright on that. Like, it's just not gonna happen. But yeah, I feel very confident we're gonna see Malarian. Hopefully we'll see Tyrion too. I really want to see the new Tyrion. Like, new Teclis is cool, don't get me wrong, but like new Tyrion, just I'm just so curious. I mean, he's blind now, so I'm really interested in how this is gonna work. What is the in-lore explanation for a name change? We don't know, because we haven't had any stories that feature Malarian yet. Like, we don't know what Malarian's been up to, really. Like, he's shown up in a couple of short stories, but hasn't said anything. Who's that chick standing underneath Morothy? That's Morothy. They're both Morothy. This is Morothy, and this is Morothy. When you take Morothy on tabletop, she has an illusion form, which is this, like, really, it's like she literally uses it as, like, a really sexy form that she uses to, like, seduce people and stuff. That's, like, roughly human-sized. But this is what her actual form is. This big, scary-ass, snake dragon thing. Do Americans really say Morothy like that? Morathi, Morothy, whatever. I don't claim to speak for all Americans. Hey, Italian, what's up, dude? Hopefully Tyrion retains his sword. It would be nice. It would be nice. How is a borderline god blind? I don't know, actually. I think they may address that in the Lumineth Realmlord book, but there are two gods of life, right? Light. Because Tyrion and Teclis are both the twin gods of light. So the idea is that Teclis is the eyes for Tyrion, but Tyrion is also, like, such a badass because he's a god now that he doesn't really need sight to do anything. Like, his other senses are so finely tuned that it doesn't bother him. Tyrion lost his eyesight when he ventured to the realm's edge of Hysh to find Teclis. Alright, yeah, that would do it. Because you gotta remember, the further you go towards the edge of a realm, like, the more magically fucky it gets. So, if you were to go to the very edge of the realm of light, it would literally be, like, the very textbook definition of light turned up to, like, 1 billion. So, yeah, you would probably go super fucking blind. Joseph Kurasturi, what I'm really hoping excuse me, is that the Seraphon Warband has like 2 Saurus characters in it, maybe 3 Saurus characters if we're lucky. I am praying to whatever gods will listen that the Seraphon Warband is going to be like a Skink Priest, because unfortunately I think that's unavoidable, even though we don't need a new Skink Priest model. But I think it's going to be like a Skink Priest, a Chameleon Skink, probably like a regular Skink, but I'm really hoping that it'll be like 1 or 2 Saurus and then like a Croxagore. That way we could just have new models for that. Because if they do that, I would literally buy like just a fuckload of those boxes and just fill out my army with those models. Because I want to update my Seraphon army, but I don't want to collect new Saurus. Because the Saurus models are fucking ugly. Like, they just are. They're hideous. Unless it's a character. The Saurus characters, like the Old Blood model, and, well, the Saurus Astrolith Bearer, But, like, most of the Saurus character models, like the Saurus character on a Carnosaur, the Saurus character on foot, like they look fine. It's the regular Saurus that just look like garbage. The Blood Bowl Saurus look awesome, but their poses are not. I can't make them into like a good battle unit, in my opinion, without having to like really work my ass off. What Age of Sigmar armies do I have? Hesnake, I have Seraphon and Nighthaunts. Nighthaunts are the army that I play the most, and I have like been collecting the most recently, and painting the most recently. So Nighthaunts are like my competitive army right now. But I like Seraphon. I just don't like their really outdated Saurus models. Do I think Malarian will bring his own army? Oh, yes. Yeah, Malarian absolutely is going to be leading his own army. There's a lot of debate in the Age of Sigmar community what Malarian's army will look like. Some people think that he's going to have, like, Shadow Demon Elves, and other people think they're going to be, like, Draconic themed. But based on how most of the Age of Sigmar factions go, it'll probably be a little A, little B. Most of the Age of Sigmar factions can be broken down into like 3 subcategories in most books. So like I could easily see Malarian having like, oh, here are the Draconic guys, here are the shadowy demon guys, and then like here are some maybe more generic Dark Elf dudes. Like that could easily be the case. That tends to be how they do these books. Are they going to add Hellebron? No, Hellebron's dead. Hellebron is super duper dead. Like, totally dead. Hellebron is beyond the pale dead. There are a lot of characters you're just not going to see come back. I mean, maybe when the new Daughters of Cain book comes out, they'll add a new special character. But they tend to avoid bringing back Warhammer Fantasy characters. Unless there's something, like, really weird they're going to do with it. They brought Eltharion back, which was actually a pretty big surprise, but Eltharion in the Lumineth army is also nothing like Eltharion from Tabletop. Eltharion the Grim was all about, like, being a mounted fighter on a griffin who could cast a little bit of magic and was kind of like a jack of all trades, and the new one is like this twin sword-wielding super badass that doesn't have a body. That's, he's just a floating set of armor with light in it. That's like, sure, he's kicking ass, but he seems a lot more like Eltharion the Blind, who was a retconned character that, like, was a character that existed and then got retconned out of existence. Sons of Behemoth, more destruction content win. So, Orc Boss, from what I've heard, it seems super likely the Sons of Behemoth are coming out in October, because there is a Sons of Behemoth audio drama coming out in October, and a lot of people think that they're going to be releasing side by side. And I think the audio drama comes out on like the 17th of October. Angel 2 Bride. Man, I'm lost in Age of Sigmar. Each faction is divided into sub-factions. It just makes it really confusing. Angel 2 Bride, it's not as tricky as it seems. I would say the big thing is don't worry about alliances. Like, just focus on a race. And then it's really not that different from Warhammer Fantasy. Like, it's basically the same as Warhammer. It's just that instead of instead of it being like a very large race, like a very large book, they tend to be a lot more focused on like a really specific little, usually a trio of ideas. I wonder if Dwarden will get any new minis. Yeah, the dwarves will have their time in the sun. Like, the dwarves do not have either god active right now. Like, Gotrek is very heavily being lined up to be the new god of fire. Like, he's basically the new god of fire. He just refuses to admit it and, like, step into the role. But Gotrek is lining up to be the new god of fire, and it seems like Grugni is up to some shit that's eventually going to force him back into the limelight. So I would say that it's very likely that the elves are going to be the focus of what's going on now. And then I imagine that sometime in 3rd edition, the dwarves, or Dwarden, are going to come back into the spotlight and be big. Hopefully. Is Morgur a god in Age of Sigmar? Yes. He technically was in fantasy as well, but that doesn't really matter. That just explains why you can't kill Morgur in fantasy. But in Age of Sigmar, Morgur is flat out a god that the beastmen worship. Yes. What is Felix doing? Felix is dead-ish. He seems to be dead, but we don't know where he is. Like, either Felix is a Stormcast, or Felix's soul is being held by somebody somewhere. But Gotrek is looking for him. I would not be surprised for Felix to kind of be like the big MacGuffin of Gotrek. Right now, Gotrek Gurnison's storyline is focused on finding his axe, his original axe from Warhammer Fantasy, and finding Felix. So I'm guessing they're gonna pick one of those storylines and resolve that relatively soon for Gotrek to become the god of fire, and then the other one might just remain as like something that he's always chasing but can never have. Which, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be like he finds his axe during 3rd edition and becomes the god of fire, wielding that super crazy axe he already has, and then the axe of Gotrek, the Grimnir in the other hand, and him just being like, and then maybe he's going to like run after and try to find Felix. What happened to Felix's wife and child? Felix's wife and child died during the fall of Altdorf. Which is a bummer, but, you know, it is what it is. They were dead before Felix died. And Felix died somewhat late during the cycle of the end times. Like, I think Felix died roughly to the equivalent... I want to say Felix died during, like, the last year of the end times. Do I think Age of Sigmar Total War is possible? Yeah, that'd be easy. Like, I mean, obviously it would take a lot of dev time. You know, like 3 or 4 years probably. But you could do it, no problem. Just like 40... I think Total War 40k and Total War Age of Sigmar are a matter of time. Like, I think they're just gonna happen. Hopefully they'll be really good. I think they could do them both justice. But we'll have to see. But I would say it's very likely that hopefully we'll get Total War Warhammer 3 announced before the end of the year. And Total War Warhammer 3 will probably be like a major IP for another 3 to 4 years. And once that wraps up, hopefully there will be 40k or AOS after that. I would think if they had the ability to choose, they would probably do 40k next. Because honestly, Age of Sigmar needs more time in the oven before you make like a really good video game. I mean, there are some Age of Sigmar video games being made, but considering like how crazy Total War tends to go, I would want Age of Sigmar to have like another 5 years before they even started. How would I rate Gotrek's Age of Sigmar model? It's a 10 out of 10. Gotrek's Age of Sigmar model is gorgeous. I actually had one professionally painted for a friend who was getting over, well, who is very, very sick. And I sent it to him as like a get well soon, because if you die, you have to send this back to me kind of thing. A more general question, but do you think that Age of Sigmar will keep adding factions every edition? Wee MPO. Yes, I do. But I think they may also... I don't know. I feel like we're almost getting to the point where they have all the races they want. And they're going to stop expanding. Because at some point they have to stop, right? Like, you can't just keep expanding infinitely, or else it's going to bloat so bad. Because the more armies they create, the more shit you have to update every time there's a new edition. But at the same time, Age of Sigmar has not quite reached the same level as bloat as like 40k. Especially because Age of Sigmar armies, like rosters, are much, much smaller than fantasy or 40k rosters are. So they can get away with having like more, but there will be a breaking point. I'm just not sure where it is. How do I like the new Lumineth? They look great. I'm not interested at all in collecting them, just like I was not interested at all in collecting High Elves. But they look cool. I haven't had a chance to buy... I need to buy their book, but you can't buy their book separate yet. So I'm kind of just waiting. Still waiting for Nippon to make an appearance in Age of Sigmar. I think the closest you're ever going to really see to Nippon are these guys. The new Fire Chaos Warband, who are incredibly sexy. But, I mean, they have a samurai. I mean, he's just flat out a Chaos Samurai. Well, yeah, like, I think Age of Sigmar is vastly superior to 40k. Just because the amount of human factions in Age of Sigmar is itty-bitty. Super itty-bitty. Like, the race variety in AOS is nuts. And we barely focus on the human factions during 2nd edition. 1st edition Age of Sigmar was literally just 40k light. Like, it was Stormcast Eternals get to be the heroes and save the day all the time. And I think Games Workshop realized that everybody fucking hated that. And because they stopped. Either it wasn't getting the sales it was supposed to get, like people just weren't buying Stormcast, or I don't know what happened, but something happened. And they just basically have stopped supporting Stormcast Eternals. Like, they show up in stories occasionally, but they are not the main focus anymore. Unless you're buying Black Library books, in which case... But Black Library can eat a dick. Black Library is so... Black Library is one of the most uninspired publishers I have ever seen. Like, they are just the worst when it comes to publishing content that does not focus on people. Like, humans. Like, it's like, okay, you're fantasy authors. Make it work. Give me a book from, like, a Ironjaw perspective, or a Giant's perspective, or a Seraphon's perspective, or all this stuff. Quit fucking... I don't care about, like, all these humans. I just don't care. I just don't care. Like, all of their books are either Free Cities or Stormcast. Stop it. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't hate Stormcast. I used to hate Stormcast, but Stormcast now in 2nd edition are actually a lot more interesting. They really played up they really played up the nasty side of the Stormcast. Like, there are borderline villainous Stormcast now. They are not Space Marines. They're something totally different, and I really, really like it. Like, Stormcast can die. That they did a nice thing of making Stormcast immortal, but with a cost. So you don't have, like, invincible dipshits like Space Marines have. No offense. Well, I guess a little offense. Like, I hate Space Marines because they win all the time because they can't afford to lose. Like, they keep putting them in books, and it's like either you're dealing with a Space Marine favorite character, so he's invincible and has to win because otherwise it'll break the setting, or the Space Marines are fighting on, like, a known planet, so once again they have to win or it breaks the setting. Like, for all the shit that 40k people were like, oh, fantasy didn't do well because it stagnated. Like, 40k players, like, please, bitch. Please. Beast Saga was pretty good for Space Marines getting demolished. Yeah, but you already knew how it ended before it even started. I'm not saying Space Marines are actually immortal. I'm saying Space Marines have so much plot armor that it's just, it's amazing. Giotto, since the roster of Age of Sigmar armies are smaller and the games have a much smaller unit scale, it seems like it wouldn't fit the Total War format. Well, I would say the second point there is a non-issue. Like, Warhammer Fantasy did not ever use as many models as you use in Total War. Like, Warhammer Fantasy was like a skirmish game compared to Total War. So, like, nobody gives a shit about the size of the battles. Like, you're gonna scale it up for a video game. That's just a Total War game anyway. Like, that's easy. As far as, like, the rosters aren't big enough, well, it depends. Age of Sigmar operates with the idea that you're supposed to have, like, allies. Like, you're not supposed to just play Fire Slayers, per se. You're supposed to play Fire Slayers, but then you can also have some Caradron Overlords, or you can also have some Stormcast Eternals, or some Free Cities. So maybe they'll do that, if they do it. Or maybe they'll do what they've done with Warhammer, and they're like, oh, we don't have enough units to make this roster big enough? Okay, we'll just make up some shit and throw it in here. Like, it's not that hard. But in 40k, just in the Imperium, you can make tons of stories without Space Marines. Yeah, but they're still just about fucking people. Like, they're just humans. 40k is just humans. That's all it is. It's all it is. I'm sorry. It's literally all it is. I play Tyranids. I really like Tyranids. And as a Tyranid player, watching fucking 40k is the most boring shit in the universe. Because it is so rare that I get to do anything. The Imperium is so lame. It's so boring. Ugh, I hate the Imperium of Man. They're just the worst. The Empire of Man from Fantasy, much better version. There are Eldar novels. Oh, great. They've got token Eldar models. Ooh, that solves the problem. I don't care. The point is, I can go to the Black Library website, and the percentage of Space Marine novels to anything else is insane. Even if I were to remove Horus Heresy. Which, of course, Horus Heresy is the biggest offender. Which, I get it. People absolutely love the Horus Heresy, but I'm so excited it's ending. Like, for me, the Horus Heresy ending is probably one of the most important moments for Games Workshop. Because the Horus Heresy has been a fucking black hole of funding. Like, it has just been absorbing so much effort, so much money, so much attention, that every other facet of Games Workshop's identity has suffered horribly because of it. The people hated Sotek because he told the truth. I miss when Black Library had a filter that separated the books by what races were being talked about. Cold Shoulder, yeah, they had to get rid of that because if they didn't, you would click on the button and be like, oh yeah, they've only released... Like, I'm a Lizardman player. Do you know how many Lizardman books Black Library has released in its entire history? Like, actual books? 2. In the 25 plus years the Lizardmen have existed, there have been 2 books. And they were both, in both of them, the Lizardmen were the bad guys, essentially. And in one of them, the Lizardmen are not the Lizardmen. They are beastmen. They are beastmen that look like lizards. Because the Black Library does not give a fuck about non-human. Like, I really dislike Black Library as a publisher. I'm sorry. They suck. They're terrible. Like, I used to love Black Library until I used to genuinely love them until that author very recently left. The one that left like less than a year ago. Am I talking about Temple of the Serpent? No. Burning Shores. Burning Shores is trash. It is the worst Warhammer Fantasy book ever written. Josh Reynolds, yes. When Josh Reynolds left Black Library, because they had some rather serious disagreements, Josh Reynolds, like, literally went to Twitter and just, like, spam posted all these ideas that were pitched to Black Library, and Black Library just took a dump on all of them. We're like, no, you can't do this. And the thing they all had in common was they were about non-humans. Like, just mass bullshit. Like, he was like, oh, I want to do, like, a book or maybe even a trilogy about the rise and fall and death of Azhag. No. They said, no, you can't do that. Okay, I want to do one about Cetra the Imperishable. Nope, he's undead. Can't do that. Okay, can I do one about Grom the Paunch and Eltharion the Grim? Nope, can't have that. Those aren't humans. Can I, like, it just fucking garbage. Like, the Black Libraries, they suck. They suck so much. Yeah, the only 2 Lizardman books are Burning Shore and Temple of the Serpent. And Temple of the Serpent, the Lizardmen are acceptable. Like, they're okay. How powerful is Slaanesh now that he lost a lot of those souls he ate? Dude, Zur Zernoff, Slaanesh ate billions of elven souls. Just elves. Not we're not talking about anybody else, just elves. Billions of elven souls. Because he devoured all the elves that ever existed. During the end times. Because when Ulthuan, like, sunk and everything. In Age of Sigmar, they have maybe dragged out millions? You know what the difference between, like, 10 to 15 million and, like, a billion is? About a billion. Like, yeah, no. Like, Slaanesh is just fine. No, Slaanesh is totally gonna break Free Scholar. Look at this artwork they published. Look at this art. Right here. Let me find it. Look at this. Fucking look at this. Nah, he's busting out, dude. Slaanesh has had enough. Like, he's into bondage. Slaanesh is into bondage, but he is using his safe word, chat. Slaanesh has activated the safe word card. And as we all know, the sub in bondage has all the real power. And here it comes. Here it comes! Banana. The new Chameleon Skink looks hella awesome. Yeah, dude, the new Chameleon Skink looks dope. Chameleon Skink models... Chameleon Skinks are a pretty old model, but they've held up really, really well. But I'm very, very excited for the new ones. So it's Slaanesh versus the world when he breaks out? Yeah, I think it is going to be. I think the elves are going to have a civil war, and because the elves are having a civil war, and so Wrath of the Everchosen, the big thing that happened in this book, there were 3 massive things that happened in this book that are a huge deal. The first big thing is that Archaon broke the only chain Slaanesh could not break himself. Because there was a chain binding Slaanesh to keep him locked in that literally was... the chain basically said that a demon of Khorne had to break the chain. Archaon broke that chain by having Dorger's Bloodthirster head rip it open. Secondly, the second big thing that happened is that the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, who are the new Tomb Kings, invaded Archaon's realm and kicked the shit out of all of his defenses, and they took the Death Gate. So they've, like, built an entire fortress city on Archaon's doorstep, and he can't really do anything about it. And then the third thing was Archaon and the new Cetra, who's called Catacros, which Catacros is awesome. Like, I like Cetra more than Catacros, but Catacros is great in his own respect. But Catacros and Archaon had their big duel, and Catacros lost and died. But, you know, he's undead, so dying's not a huge deal. But Catacros literally, like, went on a suicide mission, knowing Archaon was going to kill him, because he wanted to basically see what Archaon could do. So, like, he gets killed by Archaon, and then immediately his new body wakes up, because he, like, has new bodies on standby, because he's clever. And he just kind of gets up and he's like, alright, this will be fun. And you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I love Cetra, but I hated that he never got utilized. Like, Cetra not getting to fight anybody but Nagash. Like, Cetra versus Nagash was amazing, but it was a bummer that we didn't get to see Cetra fight, like, Archaon or any of the other super crazy characters. Like, I'm actually really curious how this is going to go. Because, like, the Daughters of Cain are technically an order group, but they are only an order group in the, like, very strictest of sense. So I'm really curious if, because of this war, like, I'm wondering if Morathi is going to switch sides. Like, I wonder if Morathi is either going to team up with Slaanesh, or if the Order Alliance is just going to... Or if they're just going to, like, abandon the Alliance system. Because the Alliance system doesn't really matter anymore. The Alliance system made sense in first edition, because they had, like, actual Alliance books, where you would, like, buy it. It's like, okay, here's the entire Alliance, and things you can do with this. It might be they're either going to make a 5th Grand Alliance where, like, some of the not kosher order factions are going to go do their own, like, make their own strip club with, like, hookers and poker and whatever. Or maybe some of the elves are going to change sides. Is Chaos Dwarves are live with their god? Hashtag champion, the Chaos Dwarves are still alive. Yeah, they're called the they're called the... Ooh, gosh. I am... Czar something. They're still around. This book, Wrath of the Everchosen, actually had, like, a really big showcase on the Chaos Dwarves. Czar Dwarden, thank you. Well, Legion of Asgore... No. Stop it. No, Legion of Asgore is just the Forge World thing. That's not the race name. It's just the Forge World stuff. But Legion of Asgarath, or is that what they're called now? But Wrath of the Everchosen featured a Chaos Dwarf fortress that Catacros blows up, because they were the Smith Masters for Archaon. Are the Chaos Dwarves getting new models? Maybe eventually. Just honestly, Chaos could use, like, one more group, and Chaos Dwarves would fill that niche perfect. I would love to see Chaos Dwarves come back. Chaos Dwarves are about as relevant in AOS as they were in Fantasy. Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, you know, I've seen a lot of people joke that Beastmen are like the redheaded stepchild of Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, but at least they get support. Like, at least they show up and get books and stuff. Chaos Dwarves are like, just a lower blurb, sir, please. Please, sir, can we have a sentence? May we have a sentence, please? Just one. Just a cameo, please, sir. Dawi Zar sounds much better than Zar Dwarden. Yes, but, I mean, you're not wrong. I will say Dwarden Zar, I think, sounds worse than Zar Dwarden. Were Dark Elves with Chaos prior to the end times? Depends on the war, Biofoot. Sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't. The Dark Elves were a destruction-aligned race, which means that the Dark Elves sided with Chaos more. They actually would side with Chaos from time to time. They would never side with, like, any of the good guys. You want some corn worshipping Chaos Dwarves? Actually, you know what? Chaos Dwarves have gotten new Age of Sigmar models. Allow me to show you. We're kind of having just an AOS day today, and that's okay. Allow me to show you the Chaos Dwarf. There is a Chaos Dwarf model. They are in Warcry. Go to Warbands, and we go to the Undivided War. Well, not the Undivided, but the Champions of the Varen's Spire. Where the fuck are they? Spire Tyrants. Here we go. There you go. See him? You got a Chaos Dwarf. He's just, you know, not wearing any armor because he's like a berserker. There he is. There's your Chaos Dwarf. He's got the fangs. He's got big old horns. But he's like an arena berserker. That's why he looks the way he does, is so he matches the aesthetic of his warband. They even have a Bestigor who looks really weird. They're also in the Iron Golems. Oh, are there two? Iron Golems. Oh, yeah, there's a Chaos Dwarf. Yeah, so yeah, the Chaos Dwarfs have actually received more support in Age of Sigmar than they did in Fantasy. Technically, they received much better support in Age of Sigmar so far, because you can get them in plastic. These are the only plastic Chaos Dwarves in existence. Because Forge World is all resin, which is garbage. I'm sorry. I love that Forge World supports kind of out there stuff, but god damn it, Forge World, stop with the resin. Just stop. Please. I bought a Morngul and I put it together and it was really hard. Because you have to, like, it's all warped and ugly and you have to do so much shit to make it look nice. Is Warcry any good? Warcry is a ton of fun. Warcry is a good time. Switsu. Thank you very much for coming a member, my dude. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the emotes and be sure to oh yeah, if you're a new member on YouTube or you are a new subscriber on Twitch, please make sure to join the Discord and link your account to your YouTube or Twitch account to your Discord account, because it'll give you some nice flair in the Discord. And you'll get access to a secret channel where I have been posting things that nobody else knows about yet, and they are very nice. There's a lot of questions people ask me, when are you doing this? When are you doing that? And I don't tell them, but I tell you guys. Are there any similarities between the Dwarf runes from Fantasy and the Fireslayer runes in Age of Sigmar? Yes, they're basically the same thing. Fire Slayers are the only dwarf faction right now with a anvil, like with an actual good rune system. I mean, technically you can run Cities of Sigmar and you can get a Rune Lord So, like, you can just get a Rune Lord, and he has runes, and they're very, very powerful. But if you want, like, a faction that focuses entirely on runes, then you might want to go, like, Fire Slayers. But you could take a Rune Lord in your Fire Slayer army. Like, you could run Fire Slayers and then just take a Rune Lord as one of the characters. But, like, this is the new Anvil of Doom guy, essentially. Like, this is the new Anvil of Doom. I kind of wish he actually had an anvil up here, but, you know, he is riding a giant fire-spewing fucking lizard, so that's cool. Hey, Sons of Athena, thanks so much for using your Twitch Prime sub here, my dude. Appreciate it. I love Fire Slayers. Actually, here, fun fact. Fun fact. One moment. Let me find it. Let me find it. It's here somewhere. That's not it. That's not it. No. Yeah. So, fun fact, one of the dudes at my local hobby store gave me a Magmadroth. So this is a fully primed and built Magmadroth, but without the dwarf, because I'm gonna make a Lizardman conversion for it. So I'm gonna use it as like a ancient salamander from Total War Warhammer. So run it as like an ancient salamander type thing. So maybe I'll run it as like I'll use like the Troglodon rules. But yeah, I thought that's kind of cool. It's a big boy. They're big models. They're very nice. Yeah, this one, I think this is the one that came with the Rune Father on the back. Dwarves with mounts, what heresy is this? It's Age of Sigmar. It's not heresy, it's just a new universe. If you don't like it, just don't take it. I really like the Fire Slayers. My only problem with the Fire Slayers and the Caradron Overlords is that their model range is really tiny. I really don't like how small it is. Like, I love the Caradron Overlords because the skyships are just super fucking cool. And, like, all the crazy flying models and stuff. But they just... I just want more. I just want more stuff. Please give me more stuff. I need more dwarves. I need more dwarves in my life. What am I going to put on the Magmadroth? Probably a skink. Because I'm going to run it as I think when I run it, I'm probably going to run it as a Troglodon. So, even though I really like the Troglodon, I might run like 2 or something. Or I might run it as like an Engine of the Gods, maybe. I don't know yet. But whatever I'm going to run it as will probably have a skink mount. Fire Slayers need flame cannons. They have flame cannons, my dude. That is what these guys are. These are your flame cannons. Except for instead of shooting fire, they shoot magma. Which not only really, really hurts, but if they hit you with it, it literally, like, hardens on the models that it hits. So it, like, just nukes your movement. I guess they're more like Iron Drakes in that case. But they're basically flame cannons. I could run it as a solar engine. Adam, that's kind of a cool idea. No cannons. Well, Fire Slayers don't really do machines. But yeah, I guess that would be nice. He does machines. This is the Gotrek model for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's a beautiful model. I love that he's just like standing on top of a bunch of Skaven. But it is very nice. And you can take him, and he's like one of the scariest fucking characters, and you can actually run him very easily in competitive games. Durthu will not be released. Feels bad, man, on Age of Sigmar with unique tree man? Durthu is still around, and well, Alariel has basically created, like, Durthu's sons. They're called Sons of Durthu. But they use the Durthu model. And they are very, very scary. What about the Dispossessed? Dispossessed were rolled into free cities. So, like, if you want to play classic dwarves, you can, by just playing Cities of Sigmar. So if you play Cities of Sigmar, you can still use dwarf engineers, dwarf kings. It's Belegar, but they run them as dwarf kings. But Belegar's model is still around. The Rune Lord, and then you can take Erloth is still around as a nomad prince. This is Shadowblade, but now he's just a generic assassin. There's also, what are the other dwarf models? I mean, you could take all these together, but usually you pick, like, a theme. You got gyrocopters and gyrobombers. Hammerers, dwarf hammerers are still around. Iron Drakes are still around. Longbeards and Ironbreakers. So you have, like, the core of the classic dwarves. The thing that really sucks, though, is they got rid of all the dwarf war machines. So, like, there's no more organ guns. There's no more flame cannons. There's no more any of, like, the really, truly cool dwarf stuff. It's all, like, Empire machines, which kind of sucks. Like, you got the Hellblaster, the Hellstorm rocket battery, but there's no, like, generic cannon or bolt throwers, which is kind of lame. But Free Cities is kind of a weird army anyway. No more Goblin Hewer. Yeah, the Goblin Hewer's gone. I have a Gotrek army in my Total War Warhammer campaign right now. He's not so scary. You know, Gnarl, the thing I've noticed about Gotrek and Total War Warhammer is you have to get him, like, multiple times before he's really good. Like, once you get Gotrek the 4th time, when him and Felix have, like, their max upgrades on their traits, then they're actually pretty fucking scary. Like, they're actually really awesome. Yeah, so most, not all, but most of the Age of Sigmar models most of the Warhammer Fantasy models that got killed off were removed a really long time ago. Like, if you're like, oh man, I can't believe they got rid of X, like, you're late. You're late to the party. But Cities of Sigmar is an actual battle tome. It's not just, like, leftovers. Like, it's an actual book. I like that you can still get the Belegar model. Me too. It's it's such a good model. It's such a good model. How would I know what, Hydron? Hayden? There we go, Hayden. I don't like that Alariel basically has no interest in Elvenkind anymore. Alariel's really weird right now, Daniel, because the thing is, like, they keep saying that, oh, you know, Alariel's much more interested in nature, she doesn't care about the elves, yada yada, but she's still considered part of the elf pantheon. Like whenever they do a list where they're like, the elf pantheon, Alariel's always on that list. And they're like, yes, Alariel's an elven goddess. Like, yeah, other people worship her, but she is a elven goddess. And, like, she still has some baggage with the elves. Like, she's got a lot of shit with one of the Free City factions, which are the old school wood elves. And, like, they haven't really addressed her end time stuff, which maybe they're just not going to. But, like, she was still, like, Tyrion was her lover, and they had a daughter together who was murdered by Archon the Black and Nagash, and she was married to Malarian or Malekith. Granted, it was a marriage of, like, power and convenience. It was a political marriage, not a marriage of love. But still, like, there's some baggage there you gotta deal with. Which, they just give us back Ariel. I'm sorry. Even more insanity. I'm so sorry, man. Like, I loved Ariel, but Ariel's gone, dude. She's gone forever. Ariel in the end times, Ariel and Alariel literally fused into a single entity. And, like, there was a spiritual battle between the two of them to see, like, which personality would take dominance, and Alariel won out. I want to know more about Kurnoth. Yeah, Kurnoth is Kurnoth is, from what I can tell, Kurnoth is literally just Orion, but they haven't shown him to us yet. I hope we get to see Kurnoth. I would very much like to see Kurnoth. Low-key, I wish Ilario had the Beetle mount in Total War Warhammer 2. She's already fucking bullshit enough with her Eagle mount. Even more insanity, if Morothy can eat her way out of Slaaneish's guts, then... Morothy did not eat her way out. She just kind of got barfed out. What events could bring back Valea? If they decided to bring back Valea, which would be amazing, it would literally... It would be a showdown with Nagash. They would have to go after Nagash. Do you think we'll ever get a Kabanda model? We already had a Kabanda model. It was the Forge World Greater Demon of Khorne, which I believe they still sell. But Kabanda's not really a fantasy character. Like, he made a cameo appearance. Well, it was more than a cameo. But he made an appearance in the End Times, and then Games Workshop seems to have looked at that and been like, okay, that was a mistake. We shouldn't have done that. And he got, like, completely, like, wiped from existence. And Skarbrand got upgraded to being the big bad again. Which is what they just should have done in the first place. Like, considering how gorgeous Skarbrand's model ended up being... Oh, right, you're right. That is Angrath. My bad. Yeah, but no, Kabanda is not a thing anymore. I don't even know why... I have no idea why Kabanda showed up in the first place. Didn't the Dwarden logic bomb Gazul back into existence? Gazul is still around, essentially due to a logic bomb, yes. But it's not because the dwarves invented the logic bomb. They just kind of have a better understanding of how death works than Nagash does, in that particular sense. But if you wanted to give Valea soul back... The problem with Valea is that she's not exactly dead. The problem with Valea is that she is like a part of Nagash. So if you were going to hunt down Valea and free her and reestablish her as a god, I imagine you would have to hurt Nagash somehow. Which would, I imagine, would be a really, really cool showdown. Like, I would love Grugni to have a whole thing where Grugni goes after Nagash, with the goal being to free Valea and, like, reestablish her as part of the Dwarf Pantheon. Maybe he gets Gotrek involved. I mean, Gotrek is supposed to be essentially becoming the new god of fire, and Gotrek does not like Nagash. Like, the whole point of Ghoulslayer is Gotrek trying to fight his way to Nagash. But he ends up sacrificing the opportunity to fight Nagash to save a bunch of people. Because he's not an asshole. One thing I noticed is that Age of Sigmar has comparatively less named characters on tabletop than Warhammer Fantasy Battles did. How do I feel about it? Hollow Nerox, I generally dislike it. I think every single Age of Sigmar faction should have at least one named character who is like their big bad. I would like them to have at least one other who's kind of like a little more minor. That way you kind of have some options. But Warhammer Fantasy had special character bloat. And the reason I very confidently say that is because Warhammer Fantasy had so many characters that not all of them got models or even artwork. Like, if you're not even going to bother giving them art or a tabletop model, then just don't bother. Did anything ever happen to Nakari? Nakari died died during the End Times. They did not want to bring Nakari back because I think he was just like... I think the thing they didn't like about Nakari was that they did not really have him in 40k, and they wanted to line up the demons so that you had the same demon special characters in Fantasy and 40k, which was not the case. So for Age of Sigmar, they ditched Kugoth Plaguefather and Nakari, and they replaced them with... so the new Nakari is this guy. So this is Salaxi Hellbane. He's the new Nakari. Which he is a greater demon whose whole thing is that it hunts other greater demons. Gorgeous model. Absolutely gorgeous model. Very, very powerful character, too. But this is Salaxi Hellbane. This is the new big demon, or slash baddie. And then Nurgle got the Rainfather. Where is he? Maggotkin. Rodigus. Yes. Rodigus the Rainfather, I believe is... So this is Rodigus. He's got a lot more tentacles, and he is much grosser than Kugoth Plaguefather was. Kugoth was a very, very cool model, but Kugoth was like... Kugoth was so unique because he, like, rode on a palanquin. I like to say palanquin, or quin personally, but I realize it's actually pronounced palanquin. And he had, like, a whole thing with, like, a bunch of Nurglings. So they kind of replaced him with something a little more standard. And the other big thing is that Slaanesh kind of got rebranded. Like, in Age of Sigmar, they kept Slaanesh very... Slaanesh has stayed very, like, rated M, but instead of it being super focused on, like, sex, because, you know, it was the 80s, now it's much more focused on, like, grotesque imagery of, like, excess or music or art, which is honestly much more accurate to what Slaanesh should be about. So, I mean, like, fucking look at how grotesque this model is. This guy's bones literally got turned into a fucking harp that's being played by a demon. Like, that's amazing. And much more accurate to what you would expect to see from Slaanesh, other than just, like, boobies. Or this group. So this is a combined Demon Prince and, what do you call him? Herald of Slaanesh that have, like, basically fused into a single entity. Known as, Silesk. Very, very cool model. But, like, they're literally fused. Like, they're never allowed to be apart from one another. But they're also, like, vaguely lovers. Like, it's basically a romance story, but because it's Slaanesh, it's, like, really weird and twisted and bizarre, but a lot of fun. Or you got, like, this giant, awesome, badass mirror thing that the Demons of Slaanesh have that I love. Like, I love the rebranding of the... I will say this. I will say this on the fucking record. I am going to be legit pissed if when they do Demons of Chaos in Total War Warhammer, they do not use the updated models. Like, you don't have to use Age of Sigmar units, so, like, the Contorted Epitome, very cool unit. I would love to see it as part of Slaanesh and Total War Warhammer, but I acknowledge it's an Age of Sigmar model, so it's not necessary. But when we get our Greater Demons, this better be the fucking Keeper of Secrets. I don't want Keeper of Secrets. I do not want... where's the old one? I don't want this fucking thing. There we go. This is the old Keeper of Secrets. So this is the Warhammer Fantasy Keeper of Secrets. It is terrible. It's so bad. This is the new Keeper of Secrets. It's like sleek and frightening, and it's like you genuinely cannot tell if it's a dude or a lady. Like it's like, but it's like weirdly pretty, and it's so much more graceful and elegant and spooky looking. Give me this, or like, oh hey, we want to do like I'm aware we already have a Demon of Tzeentch in the game, so like I want you all to think in your head, okay, what does Sartorial the Everwatcher look like? Think of Sartorial. Conjure Sartorial in your mind, right? This is what they look like now. Look at this fucking thing! Oh, this is Kairos, but... where's just the regular one? I mean, it's the same model, but... There we go. Look how much awesomer this goddamn model is. It is amazing. Like, this makes this makes Sartorial look like a fucking joke. Because he is. Like, he's hot garbage. Like, look at that. It's got, like, all these different eyeballs. It's got multiple tongues. The body is just so much more, like, creepy, and its head is placed much lower. It looks so nice. It's nice, but no Bloodthirster. Excuse you, sir. Allow me to show you the new Bloodthirster. So this is, okay, let's do an old Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster. Let's do an old one. No, we don't get to look at the cool ones. We gotta find an old one. Here we go. This is a Bloodthirster of Khorne. Can I find like a better image? That one's a little outdated. all the images are the nice new one. Well, you get the point. It's ugly. It's hideous. It's stupid looking. And then you got this motherfucker. Look at him. Look at him. Look how buff he is. He's so much spikier and his wings are huge. Like, we have to get the new demons. We have to get the new demons. The old demons are so ugly. What to do about Be'lakor? Be'lakor's still in Age of Sigmar. His model hasn't changed. Be'lakor looks great. Be'lakor is timeless. Perfection. You don't need to do anything to Be'lakor. Just leave him alone. He's fine. I don't even remember where you find his model on here. Is he in this? He should be in Slaves to Darkness. Yeah, there he is. There's Be'lakor. He's still around. It looks great. So, still good. Compare and contrast Karanak. Oh, the Hound? Sure, I can do that. Karanak Warhammer old model. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is actually a really good example. Old and busted. Oh god, what's the other half of that Will Smith quote from Men in Black? New hotness? Yeah. So it's old and busted. New hotness. Old and busted. New hotness. Fantasy demons are fucking hideous. Like, the ones that have stayed the same, great. Keep them the same. But, God, fuck. Please. Please, God. Please, God. Somebody tell... I need to make, like, a big video about that. And make, like, a huge... There needs to be, like, a movement. We've already looked at the other demon... Oh, well, we've already kind of looked at Nurgle. But, like... Actually, that's probably the most gratuitous example. Great unclean one... Old model. So this is the old Great Unclean one. To say that it is a ugly, ugly model... Ugh. 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 Like, it's not ugly in a good way. It's just bad. Like, it just looks like someone shat out a piece of plastic and painted it green. And then you go to the Maggotkin of Nurgle. Ah. Mwah. Mwah. This is beauty, but in a truly horrific sense. And look, you can even build them with one eye, so they're Cyclopean, which is kind of a cool thing. But, like, his guts are ripping out. And he's so fat that when you turn him around, you can see under here his big gut where he's squishing a Nurgling to death. And, like, his muscle and sinews popping out. And, it's so much grosser. It's so much grosser. And he's smiling. Just like he should be. I can't even tell if this thing has eyes. Like, this is a Chaos Spawn, not a Great Unclean one. Great Unclean one, ugly. Great Unclean one. Don't I think it's already too late to ask Creative Assembly about that? It's never too late. It's never too late. Never. Never! Hopefully they're already doing it. I don't know what they're doing in regards to demons. And trust me, it's a conversation I've had with them before. It's not like I'm just like suddenly discovering this. Like, look how... Oh, God, look at that. Like, where his arm ripped open, you can see, like, the muscle tendons and, like, the fat. Ugh. Has CA taken any model or art from Age of Sigmar? Not that I can think of at the moment. Well, technically, yes. Technically, yes. The one Age of Sigmar thing, like legit Age of Sigmar thing that has shown up in fantasy are these guys. Where are they? Nope. Oh, no, where are they? Maybe they're on the Squig Hoppers? No, that's a Loon Boss. Ah, these guys. They're like actual Squig Hopper knights. Like armored Squig Hoppers. That was an Age of Sigmar thing that got added in the Greenskin update. I'm not being facetious. That literally got like added. Wait, so is this the one you can build? Oh yeah, Boingrot Bounders, which are the armored ones. You can get them as campaign exclusive units in the Greenskin campaign. Do I think Creative Assembly will use the Bull Centaur Chaos Dwarf character from Age of Sigmar? Yeah, probably. Hollow Nero. Yeah, I think they'll use Shartor the Executioner. Yeah. Because Shartor the Executioner was made for fantasy. He was not made for AOS. He just happened to... he was just already so close to being done, they just kind of like pushed him out. Do I think Kurnoth Hunters could be a new unit? No. Unknown Human, I think Kurnoth Hunters are a little bit too far. That's like legit changing the Wood Elf roster. Like that at that point you're just taking Age of Sigmar and putting it into fantasy, as opposed to taking something that already was in fantasy and just like using its Age of Sigmar updated model just because they have better technology to make them nicer looking. So I don't think we're going to see Sylvaneth units added to the Wood Elf roster, no. Mogwai, man, you are like easily my least favorite person. You are just the ultimate wet blanket every time we talk about anything. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate you for it. I'm just saying. You're that guy. With a new hero for the Daughters of Cain around the corner, do you think there are new books around the corner? Yes, Selene66. I would be really surprised if the Daughters of Cain new book doesn't come out alongside Shadow and Pain or right around it. Who's the new Elspeth von Draken? Shut the fuck up and get out of my chat. All right, so let's just turn this full Q&A mode now, and go from there. So I'm just gonna hang out with you guys for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go take a nap. So if y'all have any questions, it doesn't have to be about Age of Sigmar. It can be about any of the side games like Underworlds, which honestly, I think I'm most I think I'm most excited for the new Age of Sigmar update. So I'm most excited for the new Morothy book. Like, I'm very excited for this, but I'm so excited for the new season of Underworlds. Like, this is going to be the first season where I actually buy the base box, because I want that fucking Slongor model. I'll probably sell the models, but I want the box. What do I think this means for Warhammer, Total War Warhammer 3? Nothing. I think it means literally nothing for Total War Warhammer 3. I think the reason that Warhammer fans should pay attention to Age of Sigmar right now is because it looks like they're about to do the Age of Sigmar version of the Sundering, which is such an amazing event in Warhammer Fantasy that we never got to have like a playable storyline for, but now you can in Age of Sigmar, and I think for Warhammer fans, it's a fun thing to consider getting involved in. The Underworld Seraphon tease was boring. How dare you? It was amazing. Look how beautiful this boy is. You call that boring? How dare you, Celine? How dare you? How can you hurt my heart like that? The Aventus Firestrike is the new Elspeth. I guess. I don't know. I don't hate Aventus. Skinks equals boring. Oh, dude, you are so lucky that I'm too lazy to like move my mouse over to the band spot. I'm sure there will be some Saurus in this warband, but we'll have to wait and see. What's my prediction for the Wood Elf DLC release date? So, Andrew, my prediction is not... I'll give you a prediction. Listen up. Wood Elf prediction. Listen up. My prediction is not when it will release, but instead, my prediction is that they will show the Wood Elf Lord Pack trailer and the release date at Gamescom, which is next week. They updated the old garbage Lizardmen models. Well, they are releasing a Underworlds warband for the Lizardmen, which is essentially updating their trash models, yes. What do I think the next reveal for Warhammer the Old World will be? Matthew Ross, I think the next reveal for Warhammer the Old World will be more Kislev stuff. Until we get a release date, I think it's just going to be Kislev. I'll tell you what, though. The Old World, I refuse to let myself get super hyped for the Old World until they tell us when the game takes place. Because my interest in that game is going to depend solely on what the timeline of the game is. That's beyond massive for me. And they have not said shit yet. Possibility of Malal / Malice as a 5th Chaos God faction in the Old World? Maybe? Very unlikely, but maybe. I would say maybe 10% chance. Maybe he'll get like a cameo appearance, but I don't see him being like a major force. Gnarl, that's rude. With the big preview thing they did, I was expecting a bigger announcement, like new death. Oh, dude, Celine, if there's one thing I've learned about the Warhammer community live streams, is that it is all hype, no bite. Like they do insane amounts of hype and then like a light fart and they get really excited and are like, aren't you amazed? And you're like, oh, I thought you were gonna like give me $100 and all you did was like flatulate in the room I'm standing in. The Lumineth was big. Yeah, except they dragged out the Lumineth for like 9 months. And like have still barely revealed any of the range. Like they're fucking idiots. I'm sorry. Like I do not like the Warhammer community Twitch streams. Like I don't watch them live. I would have watched this one live with you guys just as a community thing, but I couldn't because I was helping move some furniture and stuff. Do I think Chaos Dwarf players will get a new book or new models? Yes. Just yes. You bet the Lord is going to be Alariel? Darko, I think you mean just Ariel, because Alariel is already in Total War Warhammer. Are there any missing 2nd or 3rd generation Slann that are missing in Total War Warhammer? I mean, yeah, all of them, except Mazda Mundi. And there's at least 4 other 2nd generation Slann, and there is a lot of 3rd generation Slann. Why did Slaanesh get to eat all the souls of the elven dead? Um, the 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 reason is because in Warhammer Fantasy, when so the elves had their whole war in heaven thing, where all the elven gods like slapped each other around a whole bunch, and then when Chaos showed up, Chaos had this whole big fight with like a lot of things, but the Chaos gods fought the Elven Pantheon and they bitch slapped a lot of them. But Slaanesh went way harder on the Elven part of the war than the other gods did. And Slaanesh is obsessed with Elven souls because their extreme emotions and sensitivity to sensation makes them like absolutely delectable for him. And basically the Chaos Gods kick the shit out of the Elven Pantheon so hard that Slaanesh just outright gets any souls that die. Because most of the Elven Gods were basically slapped into existing as avatars in the mortal plane, like Kurnos becoming Orion or Aisha becoming Ariel, and Vol becoming Daith, etc., etc. But essentially, the elves devised ways to keep their souls safe sometimes. Like for the wood elves, when a wood elf dies, their soul, if they're lucky, will go on to inhabit a treekin, which is where you get treekin. It's a soul of an elf that has inhabited a bunch of dead wood and basically animates itself. And they're a little crazy because of that. But, at least they're not being feasted on by Slaanesh for eternity. And the High Elves have a system where their souls basically get drawn into the Waystones and the magical network that spirals around Ulthuan and keeps it above ground. Or above the sea, so like that magical network. And the Dark Elves don't have a plan, because Dark Elves are arrogant as fuck and think, oh, we're not going to die, we'll just, be amazing. And then they die and hope that either Erith Kial, who is the elven goddess of the Underworld, manages to steal their soul for her horrifying ghost army, or when they get served up on Slaanesh's plate, that the elven trickster god Loek will do something, like challenge Slaanesh to a game or riddle or a chase or something, and basically steal their soul to use for his own ends. Who is Lord Huin Tanukli? Lord Huin Tanukli is a second generation Slann, and he's the overarching Lord Slann of Slanhapek, the City of Mists. When do I think the Warhammer 3 trailer will drop? I don't fucking know. Maybe November, if we're like really lucky. Maybe December. Isn't it She Who Thirsts when the Eldar refer to Slaanesh? Yes, but She Who Thirsts is a purely 40k nomenclature? Naming something? Whatever that word is. What do I think of the Ovian Lost Factions mod from Total War Warhammer 2? Never played it. I was hoping for more Sons of Behemoth information. I thought for sure they would give a release date at least. Like, they've already showed us the model range, and I think we've already seen, like, the cover of the book, and we know an audio drama about the Sons of Behemoth is coming out in October. Just give us a fucking date, dude. I am positive the pandemic crippled GW's release plan for the Lumineth. Adam, I will agree to disagree with you, because they had already been teasing the Lumineth for way too long by, like, hold on. I will agree with that. I do believe the Lumineth were backed up. However, they still teased the Lumineth for way too fucking long. The Lumineth should have been released during, like, last spring. They've been teasing them for fucking ages because Games Workshop does not understand how to build hype. Are there any old fantasy / retro models you like a lot? Any old retro models I really, really like? Not really. I am not a person that is attracted to retro. Like, if you sit me down and you're like, hey, this game is like literally a masterpiece, but it came out in 2001. But it's literally like considered one of the greatest games of all time. Why don't you play through it? I will probably hate it because like the graphics are like so outdated and it won't have a lot of quality of life things that I expect there to be. I'll just be like, I'm sorry, I just can't get into this. I mean, that was my relationship with Age of Mythology. Like, a lot of people were really excited to get me to play Age of Mythology, and I did. I played through all the campaigns. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're going to love this game because you love strategy games. I did not like it. Like, I could see that it was a good game, but I did not like it. I didn't have the nostalgia glasses for it, and without those, I was like, I could see this being good if it got the fuck updated out of it. I'm a little behind on Age of Sigmar, but is there a de facto leader of the Seraphon? Yes. So Matthias Nielsen, the de facto leader of the Seraphon right now, is a Slaawn called Lord Zektoka. Lord Zektoka is kind of the big bad of the Slaawn. However, Lord Kroak is still around and is actually way stronger than he was in Warhammer Fantasy. Like, Lord Kroak got a huge power increase. No Dark Omen playthrough? No. That's probably never going to happen. Maybe. Maybe for, like, a very specific event. Yeah, there'll probably be a Dark Omen playthrough at some point. That's a little different. Sotek confirmed pleb that hates Morrowind. I did not like Morrowind. I hated it. That's a fact. I tried playing it on, it was on a console. I want to say it was like the PlayStation or PlayStation 2, one of those. I despised it. Like, I just had no fucking idea what was going on. It was like, okay. Like, I don't mind a game to be difficult, and now that I've gotten older, I appreciate games that let me wander, but when I played it the first time, granted, I was very young, but when I tried to play Morrowind the first time, I just could not get into it. I just had no fucking idea what was going on. I was so confused. Total War Warhammer 2 is a complete mess still? Oh yeah, it totally is. Total War Warhammer 2 has plenty of problems. Like Flavin80, I don't know if you've ever come by any of my streams, but when I'm playing Total War Warhammer 2, you can bet I'm bitching about it the entire time. I love it. What about Oblivion? No, I love Oblivion. I love Oblivion, but I also played it, like, a lot growing up, so I have nostalgia glasses for it. Yeah, Dread Nautilus, that's kind of the thing. Like, I'm not... when it comes to a game like Oblivion or Morrowind, I don't want to do all the research or massive amount of playtesting to figure out how to, like, play the game. And, like, when I just hopped into it and I wanted to start playing, I was just like, I don't understand what's happening. Yeah, I've seen the exploit. Yeah, I've seen the legend exploit. I have no idea how long it's been in the game, but it is an exploit, but it's a really shitty exploit. Like, backspacing to halt an enemy's turn, I can't imagine ever doing that, because I feel like that you just ruin the enjoyment of the game. Like, yeah, you can do it, but why would you do it? At least in my opinion. However, I imagine now that it's been discovered, that will probably get patched. I still want you to play Dungeons 3. Remember, I gifted it to you. Undertaker, with all of my love, I say just because a game has been gifted to me does not mean I will ever touch it. Like, maybe I'll get around to it. What do you mean, halt a turn? So there is an exploit where if you wait until the AI that, like, you're worried about moving towards you shows up, like, it's their turn. Well, you're, like, you hit end turn, it gets to that AI's turn, like, say, Reichland, and you're like, oh, this army from Altor's about to attack me. You can just hit you can hit backspace, and it will literally cause the AI to like not be able to do anything. Like they just can't do it. They won't move. So if you just do it like every single time, it'll just like break the game. So like you can do whatever you want, and the AI just can't respond to what you're doing. Gnarl, I'll tell you what. The only thing I remember about my Morrowind playthrough is I started playing an Argonian. I was like, wow, these graphics are really ugly on the PlayStation. I'm sure it actually would have been much nicer on PC. And then I like walked out of a building, and I want to say I walked up a hill or something, and some kind of fucking bird lizard thing attacked me and killed me very easily, and I couldn't figure out how to fight it, and I was like, fuck this game, I'm done. I'm sure now that I'm an adult, I would figure out what was going on and be like, maybe I should go a different direction. Game 1's campaign had better balance in it. Well, yeah, but Game 1 also had, like, a lot less shit in it. Game 1 was hilariously basic, bitch. Yeah, that sounds like Morrowind. There you go. Do I think the new upcoming Daughters of Cain and Slanesh release points towards Malarian's faction coming? Yes. EJ Mongrove, I think... I don't know if Malarian's army is going to show up during the Broken Realms event, but I think he will at the very least show up at the end of it. Would I have wanted Creative Assembly to make a future Age of Sigmar game if I were able to choose a good Wait, what? Would I have wanted CA to make a good... To make a few... If you were to choose a good... Oh, yeah, Snotter. Like, I want Creative Assembly to make a Age of Sigmar Total War Warhammer. But I don't want them to even start making it for, like, another 5 years minimum. Like, they need to let Age of Sigmar finish getting new factions. Does Games Workshop have any legitimacy today about how they're tiptoeing around their other human factions like Araby due to GW's past, or should they redesign? Daniel, I think they should just redesign them. I think, here's the thing with Araby, right? I think Araby would be totally fine as a Arabian Nights faction. So like you don't go, oh, let's look purely historically at the Middle East and purely at like Hinduism or Islam to try and get their monsters and myths. That might be a little much. But if you were to go, to my understanding, there is like a genre understanding of something called Arabian Nights based on people I've talked to that seem to know what they're talking about, which I don't in that situation, just to be fair. And apparently Arabian Nights is like a much more fantastical set in that world ballpark idea that could be really, really cool. I'm actually, so, and here's the thing. I am working on a DLC proposal video that's just about, I don't want to spoil it yet, but Araby's involved. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to be working on something pretty special for that. Dwarves are still bad in Game 2. Dwarves are not bad in Game 2. They're just boring. Like, they're not bad. They're just boring. There's difference. They need airships. Give them fucking airships or rune golems or a shard dragon, and you instantly solve the problem. Do I mean 1001 Nights? I don't know. I literally had someone say the term Arabian Nights to me, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I assumed that was some kind of like book or like set of myths or something. Do I have a topic for the next Q&A? Maybe. Am I gonna announce it at the end of this live stream? Maybe. Shut up, Andrew. Arabian days. Wait. That's not how it... 1001 Nights is basically the Arabic version of like the King Arthur mythos. Yeah, that's probably it. Do I think End Times Archaon versus Anarian? End Times Archaon would have beaten Anarian. Yeah. End Times Archaon was fucking ridiculous. Louis, I genuinely do not think that Araby is 100% sunk. Like, I think there is a chance there could be an Arabian thing in Total War Warhammer. Now, it's not going to be like a standalone race. It's not going to be like Araby. But I can think of some ways that they will make an appearance. Where's the Discord link in Twitch? You should be able, Eldron, you should just be able to scroll down to like all the links in the bottom. It should be there. I love to see Cathay with the Celestial Dragon. Angel. We get titles correct around here. It's the Celestial Dragon Emperor. You gotta keep the Emperor. Araby versus End mismatch? I feel like that would be trouble. Camaros, I feel like that would be big trouble. Just guessing. But you'll see, don't worry. Does Age of Sigmar Archaon still hate the Chaos Gods? Age of Sigmar Archaon hates the Chaos Gods way more than he did in Fantasy, which is saying a lot because he really hated them in Fantasy. Yeah, no, I can't see it going well for Creative Assembly to come out and be like, okay, we combined the Arabian Middle Eastern stuff with the Indian stuff. There can't possibly be anything that would upset people there. In Warhammer Fantasy, what kind of non-combat jobs are there for wizards? Oh, like, stupid amounts. Actually, Matthew Ross, I would say most wizards in Warhammer Fantasy are not battle mages. Battle mages are more rare than the other kinds. But wizards do all sorts of shit. So, like, a Heavens wizard might be an astronomer. So they're, like, tracking celestial bodies, keeping an eye on any potential threats or big events there. They might be... They might instead be someone that focuses purely on trying to tell the future. So they're constantly scrying for information on events that are coming and sending like news and warnings out to appropriate places. So maybe they can get ahead of some kind of threat. They might be someone who purely studies the weather and focuses on trying to prevent like cataclysmic storms or really dangerous meteorological events. Like, there's a lot of stuff to do for all kinds of wizards. The Celestial Dragon Emperor is an Old One creation. I have never heard that. To my understanding, the Celestial Dragon Emperor in the like the more modern lore, we don't really know what he is. It like some people theorize that he's actually just a dragon that can take the form of a human. Because he is he's literally like a benevolent dragon that's so powerful he's functionally a god, or it's just an ancestral title that's passed down. What does the Chaos Moon do? A lot of nasty shit. The Chaos Moon is literally just a giant flying piece of warpstone that is so much dark magic coalesced into like a continent-sized piece of rock that it like has its own malevolent intelligence almost, and it regularly like shakes and rains down pieces of itself on the planet to devastating effect. Or it, most annoyingly, it has an erratic pattern. So like you can't predict where the Chaos Moon's gonna be. Like it can move closer or further away from the planet because it doesn't seem to follow any discernible pattern. So it like really messes with shit. And on nights where it's out and it's like really close to the planet, it like causes the Beastmen to get all stirred up, the Skaven get all stirred up. It causes the winds of magic to blow stronger, so demons are able to pop out everywhere. All sorts of other nasty stuff. And yes, it has had a baby. Yeah, the Chaos Moon gave birth to Moonclaw. What is the most bizarre / funny spell in Warhammer? Fate of Buna. The lore behind the spell Fate of Buna is, which, you know, is in Total War Warhammer, even though it doesn't do remotely what it did in Tabletop. But it's a death spell that unleashes a curse upon an individual to make them laugh so hard, and like they literally start laughing and laughing, like they're like crying and barfing. They're laughing so hard, and it literally causes them to be like so infected with like mirth and insanity that they literally continue to laugh until like their sides split open and they die. I mean, so it's horrific, but it's also kind of funny. Joker gas? Yeah, but you know, it always comes with like your stomach, like your body rips open. I can't remember if it makes you expand or not, but you always rip open. Can any race take on the full might of United Skaven pre-end times? Yeah, most races. United Skaven would definitely struggle against like United Greenskins, United Chaos like warriors or demons. United Lizardmen would be problematic for them. I mean, United anybody could take on United Skaven, honestly, because United Skaven would not work very well. It would run into a lot of problems, but the planet would be hurt. Is there much difference between Northern Chaos and Southern Chaos? No. Well, yes. Northern Chaos, like the Northern Chaos Waste and the Northern Realm of Chaos, is actually like connected by landmass to other continents and parts of the world. So it's a lot more active and there's like stuff going on constantly. Whereas the Southern Waste is Antarctica, so it's completely separated from anything and everything. And it like isn't able to do a lot, so there's not a whole lot going on there in comparison. Northern Chaos just has like a fuck ton more stuff happening. I heard that Grimgor nearly conquered Skavenblight. No, that was Hell Pit. Grimgor basically killed everything that Hell Pit had, and then some. And Hell Pit was like, oh, okay, if he walks in here, like, we're basically fucked. But Grimgor got bored and walked off. Luckily for them. I'm assuming Throt the Unclean wasn't home because he didn't get to participate in that event, which is a bummer. I would have loved to see Throt the Unclean trying to deal with Grimgor. That would have been great. Are the Warhammer Fantasy Australians a bunch of chaos hell-raising heathens with kangaroo? Actually, you know what? Warhammer World Map. I don't even know if they have an Australia. Oh, this is backwards for some reason. Oh, I guess it's the Lost Isles of Elithis? Yeah, not really a lot going on there. I mean, so this is Japan. Nippon is Japan, which is all this nonsense. It's technically just this, but I think it also absorbs this. So I guess this would be Australia? No, I guess that would be more Indonesia. Yeah, I don't think they really have an Australia. Like, there's nothing there. Like, the Southern Chaos Waste gets very, very close, but that's more like Antarctica, so yeah, no, that doesn't seem to be in Australia. When the Slans separated the continents, apparently they did not consider having Australia is not part of the Great Plan. Australia is heresy. It must be removed. We can clearly see it's not part of the Great Plan. Who was my favorite character from Lady of Sorrows? The Lady of Sorrows. Or, what's her name? Allander's sister-in-law. Lunim, you know what I'm talking about. The Aussies are just orcs. They wish. I feel like the Aussies are just beastmen. Like southern beastmen. Eltharion the Blind or Eltharion the Grim? I gotta go with the Grim. Eltharion the Grim, I think, was a much more, like, closed circuit storyline. That focused more on the Grom the Paunch rivalry, which I enjoyed. Eltharion the Blind was more about, like, Malekith and, like, where the line between good and evil ends when you're obsessed with vengeance. Which is cool, but I don't like that because I feel like that steps on Elithanar's toes. That's kind of a Lithanar's thing. Is what the lore reason, Akiva? Oh, why elves don't use gunpowder? Yeah, that's basically it. Elves never like gunpowder. They find it really, really gross, offensive. It's super fucking loud. It's a pain in the ass. It doesn't work under certain kinds of weather conditions. And you have to, like, be really particular about it. It has a very low rate of fire. And elves rely on magic for almost everything, you have to remember. And gun magic is not a thing. Or it didn't become a thing until, like, Gelt happened. Gelt actually did invent gun magic. Because Gelt is supreme. I am supreme! Do I think it's too late for Age of Sigmar to add a similar faction to Bretonnia? No, I think that Age of Sigmar will have a knight faction. Gunomancy? Gunomancy might be a little much, but one of Balthazar Gelt's crowning achievements was that he, using gold magic, perfected and created, like, a flawless version of gunpowder that's magically enhanced, and that shit is, like, insane. And it made the Nuln gunnery school very good friends with Gelt, and the engineering school of Altdorf very good friends with Gelt. Do ogres get their guns and ammo from Chaos Dwarves? They get a lot of it from Chaos Dwarves, but not all of it. No, they trade with other races. Ogres will trade with the Empire and with regular dwarves for, like, gunpowder and guns and stuff. Because ogres have very, very valuable materials that other races want. So do we think Gelt is wearing a mask or has turned to living solid gold? Based on what I know, or based on the way they suggest it, for the lore of, and the lore background of Balthazar Gelt, it seems very likely that his alchemical accident turned some of him to gold, and, like, it caused gold to form on his vocal cords, which is why when he talks he sounds so weird. But he is actually wearing a mask. That's not his face. He is indeed wearing a mask. I'm sounding like a drug dealer. Did Gelt help invent the Luminarch and such? No. Gelt had nothing to do with the Luminarch of Hysh or the other one. The Heavens one. Gelt doesn't really understand other lores of magic. He's a gold wizard. He's not a heavens wizard or a light wizard. Like, Gelt occasionally dabbles in some shit he's probably not supposed to. Celestial Hurricanum, thank you. But yeah, Celestial Hurricanum is a war machine of the lore of heavens, and the Luminarch of Hysh is a war machine of the lore of light. Gelt has invested most of his learning into guns. Big booms. Gelt loves big booms. Gelt would be a proud American patriot of July 4th, much to the detriment of everyone around him. Was Gelt always a meme, or was that Creative Assembly? No. Creative Assembly made Gelt into a much bigger meme than he was in Tabletop. There are Tabletop memes, but Balthazar Gelt was not one of them. His voice actor and his, like, hysterical diplomacy lines and speeches, and, of course, his, like, stupid stats buffs to war machines made him, like, hilarious. Who's my favorite Dark God? Nurgle. Nurgle is my favorite of the Dark Gods. What happened to Gelt in Age of Sigmar? Gelt is still around in Age of Sigmar. Gelt has become a Stormcast Eternal named Balthus Aurum, which is like another way of saying gold. And he features as one of the main characters in the book called Soul Wars, which is a very good book. If you like Balthazar Gelt and you understand his story, you should read Soul Wars. It will tug at your heartstrings. Like, the book Soul Wars is assuming you know who Balthazar Gelt is. It is heavy. Like the whole time you can tell Gelt is like almost remembering who he is. And it is... Whew, it's emotional. It is a very emotional book. Is Franz the Celestant Prime? I don't know. He's never taken his mask off. We don't know who he is. The Celestant Prime has never given his name, and he's never taken off his mask. We don't know anything about him. Speaking of meme characters, do I want Sirtha Ek to be Solostra'd into existence? Kinda. I mean, yes and no. I would love for Sirtha Ek to be playable, but that should be like one of the last things that happens in Warhammer Fantasy. Just because, like, there's so many characters I want, and Sirtha Ek is not one of them, but he's such a fucking meme that he kind of deserves to be more than he is. Has the Celestant Prime ever been reforged? Yes. The Celestant Prime, I think, has died twice. He was killed once by Lady Olander, and I believe he was killed by Archaon another time. I'm not sure about the Archaon one, but Lady Olander definitely killed him. Barely, but she did. Atlas 5? Oh, yeah. No, the Colleges of Magic are expressly aware that Teclis is their founder. That's a huge deal to them. Like, Teclis visiting, which he does... If you want to actually read about that happening, there's a trilogy of books called The Black Hearts, which I highly recommend. The Black Hearts is one of the best Warhammer trilogies ever written. And in it, Teclis visits the Colleges of Magic, and yeah, they lose their collective shit. You know, that's literally like Jesus showing up to a church. Do I think Slaanesh will bring back Sigval when he comes back? Highly unlikely. Do I think this Morathi event will lead to AOS 3rd edition? Yes. Well, maybe. I'm not sure. The Broken Realms event, which is what you're talking about, might lead to like a new race coming out, or like a group of new races as opposed to 3rd edition. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Is the reason vampires can wield multiple lores of magic because they're immortal and have time to learn? Yes. But that being said, it is very rare to meet a vampire that can actually wield multiple lores of magic. That is very rare. Most of them just learn, like, the lore of necromancy and they're done. Or the lore of death, or, like, whatever. But it's pretty rare they pick up multiples. Why do Queek and Scarsnake want 8 peaks so bad? Because they were there first. From Queek's perspective, Clan Moors won the war for 8 peaks, so it's rightfully theirs. And Scarsnake was born there, that's just his home. Plus, it's like a really important hold strategically. Like, if you control Carrick 8 peaks, you control the Badlands, or the entrance from the Badlands to the Darklands. Like, it is a huge deal space to control. Blackhearts, yes, Bishop of Cheddar. That's What do I think of Dark Elves in campaign and multiplayer? Fighting Dark Elves in multiplayer kind of makes me want to shoot myself sometimes, but that's because I tend to play Lizardmen. So lots of armor-piercing shooting that has good mobility is kind of my worst nightmare. But I feel confident that I can beat them, but they are definitely a difficult opponent. Oh, and I think Malekith is total bullshit. Malekith, I don't understand why they buffed Malekith from his tabletop persona, seeing as he was already really, really powerful. But I hate Malekith. He's so strong. I think he should be even more expensive than he already is. But I like their campaign. It's a ton of fun. I do hope that they eventually go back and buff Lokir Felheart so that he counts as a Vampire Coast ship horde type thing. And I also hope they go back and make Hellebron's Death Knight buffed so that it has better targeting. So you can actually, like, direct it towards enemies. And then I also hope that they go back to Malice Darkblade and fix his condition of, instead of it being, oh, you've unlocked potions, so you can get potions for free, it should be something way more interesting. Like, oh, you got an elixir that makes it so that you only have to do this, or like you get all of the buffs and none of the debuffs, or something like that. Or they just need to make it where your odds of getting a demonic mission that offers you, like, really crazy followers or items is much, much higher. Because the Malice Darkblade campaign is kind of a bummer. Dr. Swaggles, thanks so much for subbing with your Twitch Prime, dude. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the emotes, and make sure you link your Discord account. Or, sorry, make sure you join our Discord, link your Discord to your Twitch account, and enjoy the secret channels. Tuco A, do you think we'll get to see the Troglodyte in Total War Warhammer? Yes. Do I prefer masked or unmasked Malekith? What the fuck is unmasked Malekith? What is that heresy? Are you talking about, like, the artwork where there's just, like, a void and you can see his eyes? I mean, it looks cool, but it's also highly inaccurate. Nah, his face should be covered. Unless he's... The only reason Malekith would ever not have a piece of armor on, which, granted, his armor is fused to his flesh, so he literally cannot take it off. But if Malekith were ever to, the only reason he should is because he's cosplaying as Freddy Krueger. That's the only acceptable answer. How unbeatable would Ungrim and Gotrek be if they were a duo in Age of Sigmar? Honestly, Ungrim and Gotrek, I feel like, would not be a good duo because they would be constantly fighting each other to get to the biggest monster or, like, the hardest enemy champion to kill, and they would probably get in each other's way. How does Malekith go to the bathroom? He doesn't. Malekith does not eat food. He doesn't drink water. He doesn't defecate or piss. He can't have sex. He's completely infertile. Malekith's armor is literally fused to his body. He is sustained by magic at this point. Which is kind of why he's such a dick all the time. No, well, it's more the armor sustains him. Malekith's armor is, like, insanely crazy stuff. Is Malekith still on fire? No. However, if Malekith gets hit by like a certain kind of spell, or he like hits something that has the Flame of Assurin as part of it, then it can reignite the fire. Like, it's possible for that spark to go back up. Dude, could you imagine how fucking awful of an existence that would be? Like, legit. Like, you have had a horrible burn victim scenario, but you still have all of your nerves, so you can still feel everything. So you're just perpetually in agony for the rest of existence. And you're sealed inside of suit of armor, so you will never taste anything again. You'll never get the satisfaction of drinking water to clear your dry throat, eat food again. You'll never get to feel the touch of another person's, like, affection. Like, you can't touch someone and feel their skin. They can't touch you, so you can't feel their touch. Like, and that's just your life for thousands of years. Is it canon that he was boning Morothy? Ted the Fourth, it was in really old lore, but not in the modern lore, no. Malekith had a wife that he, like, legitimately loved, even though she left him. How many characters actually lived through the destruction of the old world? I found Ykrit. Is he... Ikit Claw? No, Ikit Claw died. There is a generic Ikit Claw model, and the clans Scryre, because in Age of Sigmar they're called clans Scryre instead of clan Scryre for some reason. But clan Scryre is led by a guy who's very, very similar to Ikit Claw, except for he's a little more over the top. Because whenever he goes to a Council of 13 meeting, instead of just being there in person, Ikit Claw's, like, descendant, whenever he goes to a meeting, instead of just being there, he always gets inside, like, a giant Skaven mecha that can't really move around that well, but it can, like, breathe fire and shit, and he uses that as his intimidation tactic. Yeah, Thanquol is still alive. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Thanquol is still around. Yeah, Thanquol is the only Skaven character still alive in in Age of Sigmar. Talos, thanks for the tip, my dude. In the Gotrek and Felix books, it said that some Chaos Warlord called Scathlock Ironclaw besieged Prague. Is this an older name for Azavar Kul or a different person? Oh, are you talking about... Talos, are you talking about the big bad of Beast Slayer? Like the Chaos Lord they fight? Either way, it's a different person. Prague gets sieged by Chaos all the goddamn time. Like, all the time. That's a normal event for them. That happens, like, literally every couple years. But Scathlock Ironclaw was a particularly nasty siege. But it happens a lot. But no, he's not Azavar Kul. He was just a very, very powerful Chaos Lord. Lord Morskatar, what about him? No. Yeah, no. Ykrit is not Ikit Claw. He is basically Ikit Claw, but it is not the same rat. I own the Skaven 2nd edition book and the 1st edition. I guarantee you that none of the Skaven characters outside of Thanquol have survived. They're all dead. If I could be any type of wizard, what would it be but no geomancy? Probably... Considering all the downsides that come with each of the lores, I would probably... If I could be any, with the exception of geomancy, I would learn high magic. I would be so fucking good at magic, I could cast high magic. Then I insta-win. Because to cast high magic, I would have to know how to cast all the battle lores. Is Thanquol's main rival Gotrek? Yes. And actually in Age of Sigmar, they actually fight for the first time, where it's actually an even battle between the two of them. That's the first time that ever happened. And it's an audio drama, so it's amazing. Because you have Brian Blessed voicing Gotrek, and Thankful, I forget who voices Thankful, but he's really, really good. And I pray the Thankful voice actor for the audio drama is the same one we're going to have for Total War Warhammer 3. But they have a big fucking fight at the end of the second audio drama. It lasts for like 15 minutes. It's great. How do I think the Chaos Waste will work in Game 3? I imagine they will be kind of... I imagine they'll be more like a border zone that's kind of boring. But has like some interesting stuff. And then I think the Realm of Chaos is going to be fucking hype. What is High Magic? Is it a combination of all the lores? Yep. High Magic... well, it's not just that. High Magic is a perfectly balanced combination of all 8 Battle Lords. What's the name of the audio drama? Okay, everybody listen up. Everybody listen up. If you want to get into Age of Sigmar, but you think Age of Sigmar is kind of dumb, you will, or you like Gotrek, you will, or Thankful, you will love this audio drama. The first one you have to listen to so you understand what the fuck's going on is called Realm Slayer. Go listen to Realm Slayer. You could buy it off Games Workshop's website, or you can buy it off the Black Library website. After you listen to Realm Slayer, then you can go listen to Blood of the Old World, which is the second one. Which was stronger, Mummy Croc or when he was alive? When he was alive. When he was alive by like 1 billion degrees. Audible also has it, apparently. That's really cool. Yeah, I would definitely like use your free Audible for that instead of buying it from the Black Library. Can a non-Slaanesh learn Geomancy? Yes, but it's incredibly difficult. And their level of Geomancy is not anything close to that a Slaanesh can do. Hashed's champion. Sotek doesn't care Turks if they was in... I don't understand what that is. I understand that that's a word, but it doesn't have any meaning to me. Well, Eldrin, a surprising amount of people survived the explosion of the Warhammer Fantasy World. Are there any good Warhammer Fantasy tragedies? The War of Vengeance. The War of Vengeance is... you cannot describe it as anything but a tragedy. And it's very, very good. Gotrek and Felix is essentially a very long tragedy. Kinslayer in particular being a fucking... well, Kinslayer and Orcslayer were particularly harsh. Doom of Dragonback. Doom of Dragonback is a very good tragedy. What's stopping Nagash from raising a big undead Skaven army in New Skavenblight? Isn't it littered with corpses? Ted the Fourth, the problem with Skavenblight is that it's in a pocket dimension. The Realm of Ruin. Which is like between other realms. And it's like... it's in a really weird place. It's very difficult to get to. And Nagash very likely does not know where it is. Is there a history of releases for Warhammer Age of Sigmar stuff? Yeah, you could probably just Google it. I don't know why Archaon survived the end times. He's still upset in Age of Sigmar. He's still fucking pissed in Age of Sigmar. He survived because the Dark Gods were like, hey, good job. You're clearly our best boy, so come with us. And he blew up a couple other planets. Ah, the Red Duke. Yes, the Red Duke is a awesome tragedy. I highly recommend the Red Duke. I know Khalida and Neferata are pretty much a couple, but did they survive and are they in Age of Sigmar? A couple, they're cousins. Darius, Khalida, we have seen no sign of. Khalida seems to be gone, but Neferata is very much around. Neferata actually has a ton of books. A ton. Hi, Setech, just tuning in. What did I miss? A lot of Age of Sigmar news. We learned that there's a Seraphon warband coming out for Underworlds. We saw that there's a Slaanesh and Lumineth Realmlords warband coming out for Underworlds, which is including the first Slongor ever officially produced by Games Workshop, which looks amazing. They revealed some new warbands for Warcry, where we've got Shadow Cainite Assassins and the fire worship, or the fire focused Chaos warband that has the fucking samurai dude, along with a new terrain set that's all lava themed. I don't give a shit about the 40k stuff. Then they're releasing a new starter box, which is going to feature Slaanesh versus Daughters of Cain, and it comes with a new hero for both sides, which look amazing. And then they showed the big lore, and then they showed that we're heading into the new massive Age of Sigmar event, which is Broken Realms. Which is going to feature Morathi trying to become a god, and it looks like Slaanesh is going to break free of his prison. Alright, dudes. My voice is really starting to hurt. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. I think I'm spent. I also have not slept in almost 24 hours, so I'm tired. Yeah, Hatchet Champion, I can't comment on that because I don't know anything about their history. I'm so sorry, dude. Maybe once I learn more about them, I could. Would Red Duke be my favorite undead lore book? It's my it's up there. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's in my top 3. And it's definitely my favorite Bretonnian book. Anyway, so hope you all had a good time. Thank you very much to all the new members and Twitch subs we got. I really appreciate the support, you guys. And another big shout out to anyone who donated or tipped. I hate saying donate. Much prefer tip. So thanks to everyone that threw something in the tip jar. I really appreciate the support you guys give me. I hope you all had a lot of fun. This was kind of a little chat. And we might... I want to do more stuff like this. I want to do more stuff where like we just kind of pick a subject and hang out. I think that'd be fun. But in any event, if you haven't already, make sure to pop by the channel. I just put out a new Heroes of Legend video today for the Skaven. It's pretty short because it only has one character in it and there's not a lot of story to him, but I think he would be really cool. So go check that out. Hopefully Tomb Kings will come out tomorrow, and then the day after that is Vampire Coast, and then we're done. That's the end of the Heroes of Legend series. Thank God. And I can get back to working on other shit. So in any event, take care. And, yeah, see you guys next time. Bye, guys.